It's the Orioles on Macedon back at Camden Yards. The Orioles will continue a string of games against teams from the American League West. This time it's the Seattle Mariners coming in to take on the O's in a 3-game set. Orioles last year won the season series against the Seattle team that came into this season highly touted, maybe even a favorite to win out there in the West. Right now, it's a ball club that is struggling a little bit, and the Orioles hope it stays that way. Hi, everybody. I'm Gary Thorne, and welcome. Great to have you with us. We always like to do the something's got to give stuff when we come into a series, and something's got to give in this one. Let's take a look at home and road numbers for these two teams. For the Orioles in the pitching department here at home, their ERA is 12th, and yes, it is getting better. The whip number is 6th in the American League, and the opponent batting average is 8, right in the middle of the pack. Now, the Mariners' offense on the road is ranked 10th in run per games. Their OPS is 10th. Home runs are 3rd, but those home runs have been solo shots that haven't added up to wins. So is the Orioles pitching that's getting better going to outdo the Mariners' offense that on the road has struggled? Jim Palmer, we're going to find out tonight and get to see Mr. Cruz.
Well, yeah, Miguel Gonzalez said 4, what is this? 4, intentional walk. But Miguel Gonzalez has never beaten. He hasn't pitched against the Mariners very much. But to me, the interesting thing is the Mariners scored 3.91 runs a game last year. They went from, 72 to 87 first year. Lloyd McClendon became the manager. So you figure, okay, you got Cano. You go out and get Cruz. You're going to score a lot more runs. They're not scoring as many runs this year. Now, keep this in mind. They played the Red Sox 4 games. They won 2. Red Sox won 2. They scored 10. Red Sox scored 7, so they can pitch pretty well. But in the series before against San Diego, they hit 6 home runs in a game, so we hope we don't see that tonight. Yeah,
it's really kind of hard to figure out the Mariners, more so than the Orioles. The Orioles, it's about getting the offense and defense pitching to go at the same time, kind of make that contribution on the same day. But for the Mariners, it's been all over the place with this team. Right now, very hard to define what this Mariners team is going to look like this year.
Well, you're right, and we're going to see Walker, a 22-year-old right-hander. I mean, it's got one of the hardest fastballs in the league, but he's young at 22, as I mentioned. So, he's had 2 good starts. You got Miguel Gonzalez, who's coming off one of his best starts ever against a very good hitting ball club. But as I said, he really hasn't pitched very much against the Mariners. You got Robinson and Cano. Last year he hit 319 with runners in scoring position. This year he's hitting about 219. You got Ackley. You don't want to ask Buck Showalter about Dustin Ackley, but he's like 1 for 23. So you got guys that you think are going to hit well, not only for the Mariners but also for the Orioles that are a little bit under where they'd like to be.
All right, we'll see what happens here in the first one. It's a beautiful early summer night here at Camden Yards as the weather continues to be on the Orioles side. And hopefully for the Orioles, so with the W's. Pretty tough series against the Angels. There are a lot of little things happened in that ball game that went wrong. Had it gone the right way, the Orioles could have come away with some wins. But as Buck Showalter says, and so did the GM, Dan Duquette, we're not getting all the outs that we need. The defense has got to be a little bit better. If we're going to have to play tight ball games, we've got to have the D to shut off those extra outs.
Well, yeah, exactly. And you got to let Mike Wright go out there in his Major League debut. He was just magnificent. So let's hope Gonzalez remembered what he did on Sunday.
Mariners Orioles. This is game 1 when we come back. tickets. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. And by Coons.com. When you're talking cars, you're talking Coons. It is a lovely night after a day with some showers in it. A very humid day today. And our BGE home game time temperature is 80 degrees. BGE Home is Baltimore's home team for heating, cooling, plumbing, and electrical. Why would you call anyone else? Take a look at the lineup for the Mariners. They've got Smith, Miller, and Cano. Nelson Cruz cleanup spot. Seager, Morrison, Zunino, Ackley, and Taylor. Since 2014, more home runs than anyone else in the majors for Nelson Cruz.
And the 30-year-old right-hander, birthday number 31's coming up the 27th of May. A lot of fastball, breaking ball, curve balls, and sliders. He can mix those in. The changeup, 11%. In his last start, he did not throw a splitter, which is one of his better pitches. A lot of strikeouts, a lot of ground balls on it till the 5th inning. That's how good he was against the very good hitting team Toronto. 7 2/3 innings. There are the numbers. Again, of those home runs, 3 of them are multi-run home runs. Last year he threw 25, 21 of them solos. But again, he can get you out 4 different ways, and be very interesting to see how this Mariners team actually plays. They played well, Gary, as you know. They've won 6 out of the last 9. Sometimes they get some runs, sometimes they don't.
It's the big question for both of these ball clubs right now. The Orioles losing 8 of their last 12. They are 3-3 on this current homestand. And for Cruz, they got in about 2 o'clock Sunday night. They had a day off here, so Nelson got to see a lot of the teammates yesterday and enjoyed the company of the guys from the Orioles. We're ready to go. Gonzalez will be pitching to Seth Smith, and it is there for a strike. Smith getting the start in left field in the ball game. He's had a pretty hot bat, hitting in 8 of the last 12. A couple of home runs during that span. He's never had a hit off Gonzalez. 0 for 3 against the Orioles starter. Infield shifted a bit, not completely around, then the pitch will be taken up high for a ball.
Excuse me. They know Smith because last year he played with San Diego, but Orioles had a lot of at bats against him when he was with the A's, and they know his power. It's not pull power. I mean, they put the shift on, but he's fly balls, center field, left center.
They didn't have the shift on until the count went to 1-1. And a great off-speed delivery right there at 76, a 1-ball, 2-strike count.
Yeah, Miguel does a great job there. The numbers you talked about, Smith. In fact, the surprising team for a team that's scoring 3.78 runs, they are second in home runs in the American League with 48.
1-ball, 2-strike count on him. Smith will rip that one. That is in the air. It is way back, and goodbye home run. No sooner said than done. The ball club now has 49 home runs. 45% of their runs come off the dinger, and that's how they start this one. And it is a 1-0 lead.
Yeah, when you look at Camden Yards, you want to pitch the middle of the plate. So you can see they try to go in. The count's 1-2, but when you're ahead in the count, which Gonzalez was, you got to go in, and he does it. And at 90 miles per hour, that's about a mile below the average fastball in Major League Baseball. That's not going to get the job done.
Wow. So the 5th home run surrendered by Gonzalez. 3rd one from the left-hander. And that will bring up Miller, another hot bat, and that will be foul back. So Gonzalez gets jumped on early. Brad Miller's numbers, enough to keep him in the lineup. And hopefully, from their perspective, there's going to be a lot of offense out of him. He's the DH in the ball game. 0-1 delivery to him, and a swing and a miss. That one dropped in over the top.
Well, you can bet the ranch that the Orioles, after he's American League Player of the Year with 3 doubles, 4 home runs, 9 for 21, that their scouting report has said, hey, if you're going to go in, go way in, use the breaking ball. That's what he just threw him. And right here, go to the corner.
And that's where he went, and he'll get the call, so Gonzalez will get the strikeout.
Yeah, even this ball doesn't really get to the outside corner. You can see Caleb Joseph sitting there, but that's pretty much outside middle. But he might be looking for something else. And I guess when you hit 4 home runs in a week and another 3 doubles, you feel like you kind of know what's coming, but he didn't there.
Here's Robinson Cano. There are the numbers for him. 253, a homer, 11 RBIs. We'll show you his numbers against the Orioles here at Camden Yards. In particular, he has been one of the great nemesis of Oriole pitching in his career, both with the Yankees and with Seattle. Pitch is in there for a strike. Our Maryland Live Casino inside the numbers. His career here at Camden Yards, highest average at any ballpark, 361. Look at all the extra base hits, 15 home runs, 44 RBIs.
Yeah, and then another 14 home runs when he was hitting up at Yankee Stadium.
Yeah.
So 29 total home runs.
And Cano will take the pitch down low. 1 ball, 1 strike on Robinson. Well, Cano's not given them overall the numbers they had hoped for out of him. There's a long way to go. And with the record Cano has, one would believe he's going to pick that pace up a little bit, get near that 300 mark again. It'll be foul back. The Orioles just hope it doesn't start here in their ballpark.
Well, you know as well as I do, Buck Showalter, I mean, he's a firm believer that guys hit in certain ballparks, they feel comfortable. I mean, this is a great hitting park. And we've seen Robinson hit home runs to all parks. I mean, you can hit that ball to left center with the best of them.
He's now played a full season at Camden Yards. This is the 162nd game that Robinson Cano has played here in this ballpark. So 1 complete year. And 334 average, 29 home runs in his career. 15 of those 29 against the Orioles have come here at Camden Yards. 2 ball, 2 strike count. Cano to be followed by Cruz, and a swing and a miss on a great pitch he kept down and in.
Yeah, nice pitch by Miguel. You know, one of these guys that if you give up a leadoff home run, it's really not going to bother him. It's a run. So he just comes back. He strikes out Brad Miller, who's been red hot, and then I don't care what Cano's hitting. He's a tough out.
Real nice hand. Nice welcome for the MVP of the Orioles last year. Cruz, a couple of hits, 8 at bats off Gonzalez. Will go after the first pitch, and he will foul it back. He is, of course, leading the American League in home runs, 15, leads in slugging and OPS. Tied for first in RBIs, 4-way tie in RBIs coming into the day with 30. And he's been up there in the Triple Crown leaders throughout the first month and a half of this season. 0-1 count. And for Lloyd McClendon, that's exactly what they had hoped they would get out of Nelson Cruz. Switch on against him, and a good pitch by Gonzalez coming in off the fist. 0-2.
Well, I've been in pitchers meetings when you played with somebody like Nelson Cruz and then he gets traded. He did it to 40 home runs, 15 here, 25 on the road. Actually hit better on the road, higher average, more RBIs. I mean, it's kind of one of the old high and tight, low and away, because he hit pretty much every pitch you could throw last year.
And that's going to go to center field. Jones will not have a play on it, and Cruz is on. So Nelson Cruz delivers a single and keeps the inning alive.
Now there's your defense for the Orioles. Snyder, Jones, and Diaz. That's the outfield. Machado, Hardy, Gold Glovers on the left side. Pierce, Davis, and then Caleb Joseph doing the catching.
So this forces some more pitches to come, of course, from Miguel Gonzalez, with Seager standing in. Kyle Seager, you see, he's got a 4-game hit streak coming into the ball game. Has upped his average to 255. He's hit safely in 11 of the last 13 games for Seattle. And now one more out needed after that leadoff homer by Smith to get Gonzalez out of the inning. He's only thrown 15 pitches. That ball's going to be lined to right. It'll stay up, and it will be caught. Diaz has got it, and that's the inning. A run on 2 hits, the home run. Seth Smith, first leadoff homer Seattle's had this year. Lead. Let's take a look at the O's starting lineup, brought to you by Southwest. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. Machado, Paredes, and Jones, Davis, Pierce, and Snyder, Hardy, De Asa, and Joseph. Jimmy Paredes, career numbers now in the light of the start he's had at .345 here at Camden Yards.
And Taijuan Walker, again, age 22, a lot of fastballs, occasional break ball, changeup. So he's actually pitched well. The record doesn't indicate it. Lost his first 2, won a game, and then lost the last 2 with a no decision in between. Pitched well. They don't score him a lot of runs. Getting him a little bit over 2.5 runs a game, and you better be awfully good if that's the kind of run support you get.
So we'll see what the Orioles can do against Walker. He's a first-round selection, 43rd overall back in 2010. Manny Machado in the leadoff spot will take the pitch for a strike. Manny comes in having a very solid .355 lifetime average against Seattle with 2 home runs. And the 0-1 pitch is going to be foul back, so Manny will look to keep that going, including the numbers for this month.
Yeah, he's hit them all over the ballpark, and so he could see 304, a couple of home runs. In fact, he started the inning when the Orioles added a couple of runs on Sunday, take a 1-0 game to 3-0, which would be the eventual ending of that game.
Walker, you saw coming inside. The Seattle folks told me if Walker's on, you're going to see Oriole hitters jumping away from the plate. When he's pitching well, he moves people off the plate, both right and left-handers, and he will get your attention at 96, 97 miles an hour.
Yeah, his average fastball is in the 94 range, but everybody I talked to said, oh yeah, he can throw a little bit harder than that.
Fastball will be up high, and that'll even the count up. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Walker coming in with a major league record of 4-7 for his career, as he broke in with a debut 2010 and hasn't had a lot of pitching at the major league level since.
Yeah, he'd be the guy that if you looked at the Baseball America, the top 10, he'd always be, at least for the last couple of years, 1 or 2, because it's just a matter of they like his arm, they like his attitude. He's very athletic. It's just a matter of settling down and getting your innings, the experience factor.
So the Orioles get the leadoff walk. Always take that. And here's Jimmy Paredes, the switch hitter. DH role, of course, for the Orioles. Delivery on the way to him, and that's going to miss outside for a ball. Paredes coming in with the consistency in the Orioles lineup that's not been had up and down the lineup so far this season. He's reached base 19 straight games. Has hit .342 over that 19-game span. Paredes late on a heater. 1 ball, 1 strikeout.
Yeah, if you're going to hit second, it would be nice if you can pull the ball, which he can do. Now, whether he gets a pitch or not, Walker would love to be right where Zunino is, down and away, and
he is.
Yeah, and there's another 2-seamer, 91, and if you go out and try to pull it, a lot of times you end up either hitting it to the shortstop or maybe rolling over to Cano at second.
Machado had a streak where he stole some bases. Has not been running lately. He's 5 out of 6, and he got him with a fastball on the inside corner. So Paredes goes down. That's the 34th strikeout in 44 innings.
Now take a look, and I think it's got the inside corner, and it's off the plate. And so you got a big strike zone already. Now, yes, it was thrown to where the glove is, but there is nothing more annoying as a hitter to know the ball's inside and then have James Hoy ring you up. Kind of sets the tone for the rest of the evening.
We'll see. Hoy's been historically a hitter's umpire with a strike zone that's fairly confined. See if it stays big. 1 down. Here's Adam Jones hitting third. Towering fly ball, left field. It's deep. Back of the wall, Smith. Looking up, reaching up, and makes the catch. Going back will be Manny Machado. Well timed and well played. He had all the time in the world to find the wall, and probably took a home run away. We'll see in the replay.
Yeah, no, and meanwhile, Walker's like the telltale heart of Edgar Allan Poe. Because when the ball goes up in this part to that part, the power alley, which is a little less than 364, you're thinking, oh, a good chance to be a 2-run home run. And Yeah, Seth Smith, he hits a home run and takes one away.
He's had a big night. He can come out of the game in the first inning. And the delivery is a check swing. He couldn't hold up on Davis. So Chris up now with 2 down, and indeed Smith did rob Adam Jones of a home run. Great timing on that catch in left field.
Yeah, he hit it so high, Gary, he had plenty time to get back there.
That's the difference, boy. If outfielders, runner goes. Here's the throw, Zunino. Not in time, in with a stolen base. So Manny Machado on a very good catching down. Zunino's thrown out 42%, but not this one.
Yeah, 10 of 24, now make it 11 out of 25. So a lot of time. We head down, straight steal, gets a good jump, and then actually it's a pretty good throw. And a very nice catch and tag, but you can see the hand obviously in. Kyle Seager can't get it down in time.
And again, covering the bag the way the Orioles don't like it. You take that throw straddling the bag, it's a lot closer play instead of taking it in front and having to draw the glove back. Here's Davis with an RBI opportunity. 1-1 delivery on the way, and that will be taken for a ball. So Manny Machado gets his 6th out of 7th stolen base, and the Orioles are going to get an opportunity to get this game tied up. And Zunino, the catcher, will head out to the mound for a very quick word with Walker.
I think it's just what kind of signs are we going to use with the runner on second. You would think with the kind of stuff that Taijuan Walker has, he would just try to, I don't know if you control it, but command the ball in the inside third of the plate to Chris Davis. Doesn't throw a lot of breaking balls. Out over the plate, that's where Chris' strength is. So
shift on against him, of course.
Yeah, and
swings over the top at 92.
And 92 on the inside third is more like you can add 5 miles per hour. Away, you have more time. The ball, you can let the ball travel, still make contact, so it slows down. But if you can come on the inside part of the plate, and then again here, if you're going to throw him something off speed, throw it out of the zone.
2-2 delivery on the way to Chris. Chris trying to get out of an 0 for 10. Only 1 hit in his last 17 at bats. He's done a good job though getting people in this year. He's hitting .281 with runners in scoring position for the Orioles. Scott Coolbaugh working with him, and on this it's just a base hit somewhere to get that run in. He'll foul it off the other way.
Take a look at the Evs defense. Smith, Ackley, and Cruz. That's your outfield. Austin Jackson rehabbing. He's their center fielder. Seager, Taylor, Cano, and then Logan Morrison, and then Mike Zunino, former #1 draft choice, doing the catching.
Walker's given up a lot of hits in these situations. Opponents .342 with runners in scoring position against him this year. 3-2 delivery to Davis, and he walks him. So both pitches having extended first innings. That's a couple of walks in the inning surrendered by Walker. He's given up 17 walks in the 44 innings pitched. The Orioles will take it. That'll give Pierce a chance. Steve Pierce getting another start at second base. And another RBI opportunity. Steve at just $1.88.
Yeah, this ought to be a pretty good challenge for Taijuan Walker, because Pierce loves to hit the fastball, and I would imagine he'll get that.
Pitch on the way to him, and it will be up, probably away for a ball.
And there's a slider. So if you're Steve Pierce now, you have the luxury of looking fastball.
Steve's gone 3 for 18 with runners in scoring position. That looked like another slider. And the count goes to 2-0. No staff in the majors throws fewer sliders than does Seattle. They are a fastball pitching team, 2-seam, 4-seam, and some breaking balls, but very few sliders. 2-0 delivery on the way, and he came back with heat. He needed a strike, and he got it.
And then he threw a perfect one down and away. But see, that's when you mentioned the Steve Pierce is under 200, really struggled early. That's when you don't swing at that pitch when you're in a confident mode. It's too good a pitch.
2-1 delivery to him, came inside, catches the corner. So he fell behind 2-0, evens it up 2-2. They have Machado on at second base, Davis on at first. Orioles trying to get at least one in here in the bottom half of the first inning after the Seth Smith leadoff homer for Seattle. 2-ball, 2-strike count. Runners not going. Ground ball to the hole. It's going to be a base hit. Picked up by Smith. Coming to the plate, Machado. The Orioles tie it up. Pierce comes through, and it's a 1-1 game.
Well, he gets to see 5 fastballs. Actually make it 4 after he missed with a slider. He didn't like strike 1 because it was low and away. He didn't like strike 2 because it was down and in. This one's out over the plate. And again, he's got awfully good bat speed. You get him into a fastball hitting count. Boy, he's a tough out. And then Manny gets a great secondary lead and scores easier.
A big hit for the Orioles to come right back and pick that run up. That's RBI number 11 for Steve. So Pierce takes first base, and down to second base goes Davis. 2-out RBI. And here is Snyder. Left-handers against Walker have hit .337. Right-handers at .268. So you got a big spread there. So the Orioles get some left-handers into this lineup. Paredes switch hitter. Davis left. Snyder left. Diaz is going to be hitting 8th. Another left-handed bat in the lineup for the Orioles. Snyder will foul that one off right at the plate, and a 1-ball 1-strike count.
Now the other thing, much more comfortable up at Safeco Field. I mean, he's 0-1, but the ERA is about 3 1/3 runs a game, and then on the road, this will be his 5th game. His ERA is almost 11 runs a game, so he's struggled early.
Pitcher's ballpark, of course, at Safeco. 1-ball 1-strike count, 2 away. Base hit would give the Orioles a lead, then be fouled off. Snyder's gone, a 5 for 15 with runners in scoring position on the season. Not a lot of chances, good numbers when he's had the opportunity.
Yeah, the reason in Taijuan Walker's numbers are so poor on the road, first game against Oakland, 9 earned runs. Second game, again, these are on the road. The Dodgers, he gave up 5, and then he gave up 8 in Houston, where he gave up 3 home runs.
Here's the 1-2 delivery on the way, and that'll be fouled back into the screen. So the count will stay at a ball and 2 strikes.
Yeah, it looks like me, good stuff. The Natural City, you can understand why he was a, highly ranked free agent as a kid. He's just going to have to learn to pitch here.
He's already doubled up where he'd like to be in the pitch count, as he's going to throw at least 28 pitches.
Yeah, Rick Waite's the pitching coach who we just saw, and veteran left-hander trying to be patient.
1-2 delivery, swung on and missed, turned that one over. So Walker gets the strikeout, but the Orioles get a run. That leadoff walk to Machado scored. Pierce the RBI. 1-1. Selection of folks with Miguel Gonzalez.
Yeah, that's nice company. Chris Archer, the youngster out of Tampa Bay. I mean, look at the record. He doesn't get a lot of runs. The king, Felix Hernandez, he started out 6-0, lost his last game 4-2. Keuchel will maybe see him in Houston in a couple of weeks. And then Sonny Gray, hard throwing, great curveball. So when you're in that group, kind of like that early in the season.
Gonzalez, just outstanding numbers. ERA last year 3.23 down to 2.93 this season. He'll go to work here with the ball game tied at 1. Here's Logan Morrison, the first baseman, and Morrison will take it for a strike. There are the numbers for Morrison. We've talked about their offense. As a team, they're ranked 11th in average. They are 14th in runs, even though they are second in home runs. 0-1 count. Infield shifted a little bit on him, fouled off the other way. The Orioles come in 5th in runs, 5th in average, and 4th in homers. Not much difference in the ERA ranking. Orioles are 9th. Mariners are 7th. Not a big spread.
Yeah, the number that really gets you is the runner in scoring position number. They're only hitting 229. If that gets up, they'll score more runs. I mean, it's pretty simple.
That ball's popped up. The Orioles remain at second in the American League with a 291 runner in scoring position average.
Yeah, one of the more amazing numbers considering the acquisitions that the Red Sox made is they're hitting 203. Ramirez, Sandoval, Ortiz is so. Pedroia's healthy. Napoli's really struggling at first.
0-2 delivery on the way, and that's going to miss inside to Morrison. Gonzalez, left-handers, hit only 228. Right-handers 184. An overall batting average of 206. Amazingly low number for any starter.
Well, he's got the curveball and the splitter, and then he can command his fastball to both sides of the plate. There's the splitter. It took him 5 innings against Toronto. That's how good his other pitchers were to have to throw a split finger. Watch this ball just dive and dance. So it's 84. He's been 91 and maybe 76 on the curveball. So not only does it move, the late break takes it right to the outside corner, and Logan Morrison way out in front.
Zunino's doing the catching. 2 for 3, lifetime off Gonzalez. 1 down. Zunino takes the big cut at a 90-mile-an-hour fastball.
Yeah, he strikes out a lot, 44 times, 106 at bats. He's an inside half hitter. If you could stay on the outside quarter of the plate, tough for him to, but he is strong.
Zunino's getting his second, hopefully gets in his second full season with the big club. He came up a couple of years ago for 52 games. Last year he hit only 199, 22 homers, 60 RBIs with a 199 batting average. Here's the 1-1 delivery on the way. Strokes that one down to third softly. Manny Machado. 2 down. Celebrate summer at Oriole Park by picking up the new Birdland Summer 6-pack. Any 6 games, your choice. Save up to 20% off the cost of single game seats. Build a perfect plan. Do it with rivalry games, popular promotions, bobblehead dates, whatever you like. And for details, you can go to Orioles.com/6-pack or 888-848-BIRD. Here's Dustin Ackley, struggling mightily. Gonzalez, he's hit 4 for 6 with a home run. Pitch will be taken down low. Ackley, one of the great hopes for this ball club. And he was picked up by the Mariners. They felt they had themselves one of the real great future stars of the game, and it just hasn't worked out that way for him.
Yeah, 245 average, occasional power, 14 last year. Former #1 draft choice. Second round in the country. And that was in 2009.
Delivery to him, grounded down to first. That will be a foul ball.
Now take a look. How is he hitting where he is, which is not where he wants to be. You would think, because I always thought he's a pretty good fastball hitter. Actually hits the breaking ball better, and then if you're having trouble with the fastball, that means you're cheating. So that means the changeup's effective.
2 ball, 1 strike count on him. And Ackley will ground that one down to first base. It'll be played pitcher covering. Davis gets it to Gonzalez. Ackley is retired. 1-2-3 inning and a 1-1 ball game. Jr. from Baltimore. 500 for being selected. 500 more for every Orioles home run hit tonight. Play baseball buck scratch-offs. Win up to $50,000 or enter non-winning tickets for a chance to be the contestant of the game. Visit mdlottery.com/baseball. Good luck. 1-1 game. Walker will get that rosin bag where he wants it, on the back of the mound, and where it needs to be, in fact. James Hoy, the home plate umpire, is going to go out and move it, but beat to the punch. Here's J.J. Hardy, the Orioles shortstop, and he will take the pitch for a strike on the outside corner. J.J. hitting in 7 of the last 9 versus Seattle. He's had 246 career average against them. Taylor's got it. Hardy's retired. One down here in the second inning. For the Orioles, they're trying to get back to that double digit in hit numbers. Orioles did that a lot last year. They've had fewer than 10 hits 8 straight games now, and in 14 of their last 15. You don't necessarily need double digits, put some runs up, but when you get to double digits, you're usually in pretty good shape.
Yeah, and it really has a lot to do with who you're pitching. You know, you're hitting against. I mean, the Red Sox, the worst. Toronto has the worst starters.
De Aza's going to get a base hit. He went after the first pitch that rode in on him, and De Aza picks up a 1-out single there in the second inning. When the Orioles win, everyone wins. When the Orioles win and score 5 or more runs, you get 50% off regular menu price online orders at papajohns.com. Enter promo code Orioles5. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's. Valid at participating Baltimore area. Papa John's.
There's Tyler Wilson. He was hanging around on Sunday, and now he's actually on the active roster.
He had a backpack with him heading on out. Thought he was going on a hiking excursion on the Appalachian Trail. As Bud Norris has gone on the DL, of course, for the Orioles with the bronchitis. And an ERA that's high. Take that any way you want it.
You're being kind.
A 1-0 count on Caleb Joseph.
988. He is a lot higher than the Orioles or Bud won. Of course, Bud says, how am I going to get it lower if I
don't pitch?
If I don't pitch. And
hit and run was on. That'll be fouled away by Joseph.
So it worked out well on obviously on Sunday as Mike Wright gets his major league first start, his debut, and the Orioles win 3-0. I mean, really impressive.
The Orioles are going to have some real tough decisions and important ones to make here in the not too distant future as some of the players on the DL get ready to come back. Kevin Gausman's going to throw a bit this week and then pitch batting practice Saturday, and then if all goes well, he will start his rehab. Bud will probably go to Norfolk on the 22nd, according to his manager today. You got Tyler Wilson in the pen. You're going to keep him there. You got Wright, who pitched the outstanding game. Great start. What do you do with him? You got a Rule 5 player you got to keep on the roster who you really don't want out there. How you going to maneuver that so that he's got to get some pitching time somewhere, but you can't keep him, I don't think, DL for the whole year.
No, he has to be on the active roster. I think at least 90 days, and I don't think September counts in that number. And so I think what's going to happen is that with Gausman, because you want him to get innings in anyway, he'll go do his rehab, and then they'll leave him there because he has options. So he'll come back if the Orioles need any help starting, and he'll be a starter. Right, make
2-1. He got a hold of that one to left field, but not quite enough off the end of the bat. Smith is there, and Joseph is retired. And you got some position players who got to find some room. Matt Wieters is going to join the ball club in Miami, and then that next week, Buck Showalter said he expects him to go to Bowie on Tuesday. So he's going to get closer to coming back, and that means another roster spot. And do you keep 3 catchers? And Buck Showalter said last week, no.
Now, LaVarn White hasn't played a lot. Caleb Joseph, and of course, Matt won't catch every day. He won't be catching 6 out of 7 games like he used to. Can't imagine that.
So all to come, and as all baseball fans know, a lot of those questions get answered on their own between now and then with injuries.
But the important thing is you're 16-19, and you just have to win a series. You have to take each game by itself.
That'll go to center. Manny Machado will fly out. Ackley is there to put it away. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, and 1 left on base. 2 complete here at Camden Yards. Great to have you with us. Gonzalez back to work. by American Standard.
Well, Adam Jones loves hitting here at Camden Yards. Big double, 2-run double on Sunday. Chris Taylor broke his right wrist in spring training out of the University of Virginia, where Tyler Wilson was called up with the Orioles today. They must have been teammates. So again, coming back from that wrist fracture, I think the 13th of March. Yeah, but he's a good defensive shortstop, and that's why he's in there.
Celebrate the season with the American Standard All-Star event. Visit MidAtlanticComfort.com for amazing rebate and financing opportunities. And the pitch, we take it up high. Here is Chris Taylor. 4 for 5 off Gonzalez. And she's trying to get out of an 0 for 10 that he's in right now as well. 1-0 delivery on the way to him, and he'll punch that one foul outside of first base.
Yeah, he came out of the signed in 2013, and then actually 12. A ball 328, higher A ball 304. Next year 335, 320 in minor league average. He's hit everywhere he's gone. Yep. Not for power.
1-1 delivery fouled away,
and then he can steal some bases.
And he's from Virginia, and if you're from Virginia Beach and you've gone to UVA, life's good. You know what I mean? Life's very good. And you signed a major league contract.
And you're the big leagues.
That's right. 1 ball, 2 strikeout. And Gonzalez comes inside to him. That one is going to miss. He's got a 6 for 16 in 6 games against the Orioles. That's a .375 batting average. Not a lot of at bats, but you'll take that number. Oriole right-hander will have the top of the order. Smith waiting on deck. 2-2 delivery here is cranked foul, ricocheting around the Seattle dugout.
Yeah, Miguel Gonzalez is kind of throwing in the whole enchilada here to try to get him out. Leadoff hitter, you know how important that is. He did come up 47 games with Seattle and hit .287 last year.
Made his debut against the Baltimore Orioles, and that one fouled away. He started at shortstop on July 24 against the Orioles last year and got his first hit off Chris Tillman.
Well, what he's been able to do is take some really good pitchers' pitches and just flick them foul. Pitch count 34 now for Miguel.
2-2 delivery and another one that's going to be hacked back, and this is one of those at bats pitchers hate. Stays at 2-2, just eating up time, and it's the leadoff batter, which can have an effect later off in the inning.
It really does, and you're trying to figure out a lot of hitters. I mean, they just get ahead of them, throw them a good breaking ball, they wave at it, and then you have an idea where you need to go later. And right here, he's thrown everything. I mean, that's a splitter, curveballs, sliders, fastballs, and he's thrown about 7 pitches. This will be the 8th pitch.
It's going to be the 9th.
It's worse than I thought.
This will be the 9th pitch of the at bat to the number 9 hitter Chris Taylor.
And then you got a guy that homered waiting on deck, and Seth Smith.
3-2 delivery down the line in right field. That's going to be a long run for De Aza. Gets over there, and it will be a foul ball just off the facade of the stands down the right field line.
Well, Gary, hitting a lot of times is about plate coverage. So here's Chris Taylor, 320 minor league guy. He comes up, plays in 47 games, gets about 136 at bats. He hits .287. If he gets on, all of a sudden, if you're Lloyd McClendon, the manager of the Mariners, you get some options because he can steal bases. And he's getting the pitch count for Miguel Gonzalez, exactly what you want to do, up higher than, and it's not like Miguel's not making good pitches.
3 ball, 2 strikeout battle goes on here. Taylor waiting on it. Gonzalez gets it in, and Taylor supplies another souvenir. You better mud up some balls. Taylor's costing the league a lot here. 3 ball, 2 strikeout. Nice crowd on hand here for this first of this 3-game set against the Seattle team. 3 games under 500, as are the Orioles. 3-2 delivery on the way, and he wins the battle.
Well, what he forced him to do was to try to go in 3-2 because he fouled so many balls down and away, and you don't want to be doing that to a leadoff batter of an inning.
Yeah, the Birds and Mariners continue this 3-game set tomorrow, 7:05. Then on Thursday, skip out of the office and get your holiday weekend started early. Special 12:35 afternoon start. Good seats still remain. To get yours, go to Orioles.com or 848 Bird. Day game Thursday. So the leadoff batter, Seth Smith, who delivered the home run. 4 of them now on the year. First leadoff homer Seattle's had this year. And the 5th given up by Gonzalez. And he will take the pitch on the outside corner for a strike. Seth Smith leading off. Miller waiting on deck.
And it's not like he got behind him or he got into a hitter's count. It was 1-2. Tried to come in, didn't get in enough, and the Mariners get on the board.
Not a big lead at first base for Taylor. Walks off a decent lead, and the pitch is in there for a strike.
Yeah, you can see right there. I mean, that's first plate appearance, and then the ball. They were able to stay out of the inside middle of the plate, and he just didn't get it in enough. It's a little different if you throw 95 or 96. Miguel hit 92 in his last start, but average fastball is right around 90.
Got a 0-2 count here. Runner not going at first, and right there to get him. That's the 4th strikeout for Gonzalez. Great location again.
Yes. Oh, you're not going in because he homered on that pitch, so they just go away. And what I like about this, not only the location, but the late movement. Watch the ball run to the outside corner and maybe even an inch or so outside.
So a 6-game hit streak. Number 2 hitter Brand Miller coming up. American League Player of the Week for May 11 through 17, where he hit .429, 4 home runs, 5 RBIs. He has homered in consecutive games for the first time in his career. He's had 3 home runs the last 2 ball games. Not a lot of running done by the Seattle team. They're missing their leading base stealer. Austin Jackson, the regular center fielder, Ackley's playing for him now, should be back this weekend, if not sooner. Bad ankle, which is much better. He's playing. Lloyd McClendon should get Jackson back in the lineup for the weekend. Runner again not moving. Pitch is going to be down low for a ball. So Miller, 1-0 count. Miller had 1 home run the first 30 games of the season, and then one of those things you just can't explain. All of a sudden, he's got 3 home runs in 2 ball games. 1-0 infield double play depth with 1 down. And fouled off, got out in front of that one.
Yeah, a good splitter. And the other thing is, I mean, this is what, the 8th start for Miguel Gonzalez, and they tried to steal once. That tells you not only did he have the lowest earned run average of any of the Orioles starters last year, he's pretty attentive when guys do get on base.
He and Chris Tillman have been outstanding in that department for the Orioles. In fact, the Orioles staff has, because Buck Showalter simply requires it. 1 ball, 1 strike delivery on the way, and he thought about that one laid off. Went from the 82 to the 90-mile-an-hour fastball, and almost had him biting on it. 2 ball, 1 strike count.
So here comes one of those critical counts to a guy that has hit home runs, 4 times in his last 22 at bats.
2-1, edging off first base, Taylor. And he'll put that one up in the air, left center field, going back, ball traveling. Snyder at the wall. He's got it. Runner was down to second. Will head back to first. Miller's retired, 2 away.
Yeah, it gives you an idea of how small this ballpark plays. I mean, that's a fastball. Yeah, it was a hitter's count, but I mean, he just kind of hit a nice fly ball. A couple of feet from being a home run.
A little bit of wind, and there isn't any. And that ball could have been out of here. So here is Robinson Cano. Cano, a strikeout victim, his first time up. 15 home runs he's had in this ballpark, second most by any visiting player here at Camden Yards, any venue in his career. Runner remains at first, but now there are 2 outs. Gonzalez a chance to get out of it. That one blooped to short. Hardy's not going to get it. Base hit the other way. Snyder will hold the runner at second base, so Cano is on. And with 2 away, runners at first and second base. Just kind of flared that one over Hardy's head.
On the master of bat control, Robinson Cano.
So Cruz gets to do damage. He came up in the first inning with the bases empty, 2 down, got a base hit. Now he's got runners on at first and second base. with 2 away.
Yeah, Miguel quickly got in front of him and then missed his spot on his fastball. 1 and 2, and he just hit a nice soft single into center.
Shift on in the infield. Pitch will be taken away for a ball. Cruz with a .341 average with runners in scoring position so far this year.
He's one of those guys where if you can stay, I mean, it's really, as I mentioned the first time up, it's a pitcher's meeting. You can go in, but it better be way in, so high and tight and low and away.
1-0 delivery. Got that one in the air. Left center field. It is in the power alley. And goodbye home run. Last year they cheered those. This year they will quietly watch as Cruz returns to Baltimore and in the 3rd inning delivers a 3-run homer to give Seattle a 4-1 lead.
Yeah, if you're going to hang him, boy, you like to hang it out of the zone, and this one just kind of filters right back into the hitting zone. Curveball, it just kind of rolls up there, and it's gone. I mean, full extension.
So 2 home runs off Gonzalez in the ball game, and for the league leader in homers, number 16, and now has a league leading 33 RBIs, and a big 2-out homer. And here is Seager. Kyle Seager flied out his first time up. Pitch taken for a strike. How much of that is attributed to the at-bat Chris Taylor had to lead the inning off? Not only did he draw the walk, but he forced the double-digit pitches.
Yeah, 11 pitches.
Yeah.
And you know, a lot of times you walk people, and then some people walk because they earned it, and he did.
0-1 delivery is swung on and missed.
Yeah, because if you said, okay, I got 9-1-2 coming up, do I want to walk the number 9 hitter, which he didn't want to? I mean, he earned it to get to the Canoes of the world and the Cruzes of the world, and the answer obviously is no. But Taylor just had one of those at bats that really earned the walk.
Here's the 0-2 delivery on the way, and a swing and a miss. 5 strikeouts for Gonzalez, but a walk, a single, and a Cruz home run has given Seattle the lead going to the bottom half of the 3rd inning. Brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. And by Chesapeake Employers Insurance, Maryland's workers' compensation specialists. Boy, what a beautiful view. Everybody hoping it stays like that with Memorial Day weekend coming up. Lots of crab will be consumed along with adult beverages and some great sodas by the kids. Little Old Bay on top there. And away we go. Bring on the hammer.
Oh, by the way, after we did the apron, that one of the Oriole giveaways.
Yes.
Probably wondering what I did on my off day yesterday.
No,
I worked on my worked on my barbecue ribs.
Barbecue ribs.
Okay.
That one hard to center by Paredes.
No,
and
knuckleball.
backing up, it'll be Ackley who started in. He covers up, though, and Paredes is retired.
Like trying to hit Phil Niekro right here, trying to catch him. That ball knuckles. He hit it square, and right here, okay, can I get it? Yes, I can. Former infielder now playing the outfield.
That'll bring up Adam Jones. Pitch in and out. Paredes 0 for 2 with a strikeout in that fly ball. Adam was denied a home run in the first inning. Seth Smith, left fielder, went back on a towering fly ball and perfectly timed the jump, and right at the top of the fence pulled it back in, and the pitch taken for a strike. Jones, of course, had been with the Seattle organization. The big trade that was made to bring him over, he and Chris Tillman. He's a .282 hitter, 3 home runs against Seattle. It pains most people associated with Seattle to see Adam Jones walking around the ball field in a Baltimore uniform.
Hey, Ron Riz, who does TV radio, I mean, he just kind of segued into it, and then he couldn't talk. and that's what he does for a living. About that trade. Can't talk about that trade.
0-2 delivery on the way, and kept that one down and gets a strikeout. Walker has his third K.
Well, he started him off with a changeup, and he finished him with a changeup. So if you watch his Felix Hernandez pitch, Felix is, he's got a good breaking ball, a great changeup, just turn it over, great arm speed. I think that really the fastball sets that pitch up because 92-3 with good movement. Hadn't really hit 96 or 97, but really hasn't had to yet.
Up high to Chris Davis. There are 2 down now, nobody on here in the third inning. Davis drew the walk, stranded in the first. He'll take the pitch away for a ball. Both pitchers tonight are fly ball pitchers. 60% of the outs recorded by both Walker and Gonzalez are in the air, either line drives or fly balls. Dangerous park for that. Gonzalez has been very successful getting around it. We'll see how Walker does here tonight. 3-0 count on Davis. Here's Miguel, who tonight not so fortunate with the 2 home runs against him. Davis will take that one for a strike. All 4 of the runs scored by Seattle have been on the homers. Not unusual for them.
Yeah, as you mentioned, 45% of their runs scored via the home run, kind of the number that Orioles did all last season.
Yep. Davis will take it, and there's another walk. So, but over a Major League Notebook, take a look at our East Winds page. For the Toronto Blue Jays, their starters right now have the worst ERA in the majors at 5.29 coming into the ball game tonight. They play the Angels. You see that Logan Forsythe, Tampa Bay, 339, giving them some real good punch. The Red Sox have lost 10 of 17. Jim was talking about it. 42 runs scored. And Mark Teixeira is in the lineup. He had to lose Sunday's game. Bad toe, 0 for 1 and a walk in the ball game tonight. A little chopper by Pierce. Flip will be made, and Walker's out of the inning. No runs, no hits, no errors, and 1 left on base. It's a 4-1 game, first of 3 against Seattle. You take a look at April, May for the Orioles.
Yeah, so they, 500 ball the first month. They score a lot of runs. They don't pitch well, but they score more runs than they give up. And then in this month, you can see 6 and 9. Tonight's kind of, at least it's early, reflective of that. The pitching gets a lot better, but the offense goes down. So at the end of the day, I mean, that's, unless you're the Yankees, the last couple of years, they've been able to actually win about 85 games, scoring less than they give up because they're great bullpen. It's not the way it usually works when you want to win.
Yep.
You got to score a ton more. Makes it a lot easier to win ball games and get to your bullpen and protect the leads.
Here is Morrison, who will take the pitch. The Orioles came in with just a +1, as you saw in the run differential. That obviously is gone here as they trail 4-1. Strikeout victim, first time up. Morrison, Zunino, and Ackley. 1-0 delivery will be put up in the air, short. Hardy. And he'll put it away for the out. Spend your Memorial Day afternoon at Oriole Park. The Birds are going to host the Houston Astros on Monday, 1:35. First 20,000 fans, 15 and over, get the Stars and Stripes patterned barbecue apron that was so generously and explicitly detailed in the showing by Jim Palmer yesterday. Celebrate the unofficial start of summer. Show the Birdland pride with a great afternoon of Orioles baseball. For tickets, Orioles.com or 888-848-BIRD. And as you heard, rumor has it, if you put that apron on, suddenly you have the ability to make delicious barbecue ribs.
Well, you showed, so you asked me, what do you cook when you barbecue? I said chicken breast, maybe swordfish, and you showed such disdain. I mean, and people didn't get to see the sneer on your face.
No, they did not.
No. We weren't on camera.
No, it was a sneer, too. Zunino will take it. 1-1. So,
Not all.
No.
Not all of yesterday did I spend doing the ribs, but.
No.
But a good portion.
Most of it. 1-1 delivery on the way and a swing and a miss. An off-speed pitch and movement away.
Yeah, that was the curveball. That's the same pitch he threw to Nelson Cruz, except this is a game where sometimes it's the right pitch but the wrong location. And that's the way it was with Cruz. Curveball down and away like you just threw to Zunino is not a bad idea.
1-2 delivery. Chopped at that one. Jones in center, puts it away, and there are 2 down. Those fans can't make it to the yard. Well, Masson's got you covered. Follow @Masson Orioles on Instagram for sights around the ballpark, behind the scenes moments, exclusive contests, and so much more. Again, search @Masson Orioles on Instagram. 2 down, nobody on. Here is Ackley. Ackley coming to the plate, having grounded out his first time up. Seattle Times had an article on Ackley today where the conclusion was it's time for him to move on. Said he's been mired in a slump now that extends into its 4th season. Since homering 3 times in his first 7 games, he's hitting .154 with 3 extra base hits.
Well, I can go back. Yeah, I can go back to his last at bat. He gets ahead in the count, 2 balls, no strikes, swings at a curveball, low percentage pitch, fouls it off, and then takes the strike and then swings at a changeup. So when you're struggling, and I've seen a lot of guys do it, where you don't want to take a walk because your batting average stays exactly where it is. So you think you expand the strike zone and you become an easier out. Doesn't use the whole field.
3-0 delivery on the way to him. He'll take a walk here.
Well, he got walked.
Yes, he did.
That's a little different than what we saw from Chris Taylor, who earned it with an 11 pitch at bat, who's going to step to the plate.
Well, that's not somebody you want to walk.
No.
You got a hitter really struggling at the plate. So Ackley is on. Taylor drew that leadoff walk in the 3rd inning, would come around to score on the Cruz 3-run homer. Now Ackley on at first base and 2 down.
And what it does, it opens up a hole for Chris Taylor. I mean, he gave you every evidence that he could hit the ball to the right side the way he flicked balls down the right field line, and now you set up this huge hole between first and second because you're holding the runner on.
Outfield playing around towards left. Gonzalez, 1-0 count, up to 63 pitches thrown so far. 1-0 delivery on the way to him. pitch is taken for a strike. Mariners trying to find some help from somebody else other than Cruz. A note today that if you take Cruz 340 average out of the Seattle team average, it goes down to 225, way below the 244 they had last year. Cruz has been such an enormous part of this offense. Ball in the air to center field. Jones had to get on it back near the warning track, and he will pull it in. And that's why he can play shallow. No runs, no hits, no errors. One left on base. 4-1 Seattle. All right, it's coming your way. It'll be at Oriole Park on June 27th. This is the Buck Showalter Garden Gnome. Now, as only great PR departments can do in selling what you've got to give, you're only going to get to see that much of the gnome.
Yeah, got to show up.
That's right. You've got to be here to see.
Standing room only. I can see it now. Boy, I tell you what, he is thrilled that they're doing this. Not. They told him in spring training. I said, I mean, social media is a stir. A stir.
A Twitter.
Well, that too.
But the gnome is a garden gnome. It is the giveaway on June 27th. The Buck Showalter Garden Gnome. And we can't show you any more of that.
No.
And if you go to that hashtag, you're still not going to see any more than that.
And he's very happy about that.
I love it. It's great. That's a great idea.
Well, how many gnomes of managers in the history of Major League Baseball are there?
None.
Could be a first.
There have been a number of managers called gnomes, but
well,
no, don't go there.
No, not Earl. No, I was thinking of Earl. What did Bill Lee call Don Zimmer something? Well, I called Earl a lot of things, but I can't go there either. But
we couldn't give those away
what
either.
Did he call him? The late Don Zimmer.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, Popeye.
No, that was everybody called him that. Yeah.
Travis Snyder will foul it away. 3-ball, 2-strike count on Snyder. Hardy and Diaz are coming up.
Well, the Orioles need a couple of free passes or earn them, whatever. Get back in this game.
Mariners 4-4-0. The Orioles 1-2-0. Orioles have left 4 on base, 2 so far by Seattle.
Well, yeah, Snyder got out of trouble in the first. And there's a ball.
There's one of them.
Yeah, struck him out. So with a changeup, this time Trent misses with the fastball. Exactly what you did want to do. And remember, Taijuan Walker's 22 years old.
And he's given up 4 walks in the ball game. First pitch for game 1 of the special single admission doubleheader Thursday, May 28th. Moved up to 105 from a previous 4:05 time. Tickets scheduled for the Monday, April 27 game. Valid at this twin bill. Additional tickets are available. It's a 2-for-1 deal. Orioles.com, 888-848-BIRD. Pitch taken for a strike by Hardy. Hardy grounded out his first time up. So the Orioles here in the fourth inning getting that leadoff man on. They did so in the first. Manny Machado walk and they scored. And they get it. Same thing here via Snyder.
It hasn't thrown a slider over, but the fastball changeup combination has gotten him out of trouble. Yeah, he's looking for a ground ball, and the Snyder at first opens up the right side of the field.
Throw over, not a big lead at all for Snyder, and he gets back to the bag.
Yeah, that's one of those rookies moves where it just comes to you. You need to throw over there even though he's not going to run. But then again, I don't really know that. I'm not really worrying about that. I may even be worried about the fact with a 4-1 lead, I just walked the first guy.
That would bother you.
Yes.
Down the line right field. They weren't playing him that way. Nelson Cruz coming hard. Cruz can't get there. It's a fair ball. Snyder had to wait. He'll go to second. He has to stop there. So Nelson Cruz playing around the other way towards center could not get to it, and Hardy has got a base hit. The Orioles have 2 on.
Yeah, I mean, teammates last year. So J.J. Hardy, the balls he hits to right center are usually where Cruz was playing. By the time he gets there, and of course Snyder down by 3 runs does not want to get doubled up, so he kind of goes halfway when the ball drops, gets into second base.
So a big chance for the Orioles. J.J. Hardy delivering the base hit. The Orioles with their 3rd hit of the ball game. They've had 3 singles. Pierce, Hardy, and the man at the plate, Alejandro De Aza. He'll go after the first pitch, center field. That's going to fall in. Snyder will be held at third. Throw in by Ackley to the cutoff man. And they are loaded up with nobody out here in the 4th inning.
Yeah, another sharply hit ball. Ackley plays almost as deep as Mike Trout. He's just in town for the weekend series and doesn't have the mobility of Trout. So again, the scoreboard tells you sometimes, even though you know where they are, you cannot get doubled up 3 runs down.
So the Orioles, a big moment in the ball game here in the 4th inning. They have loaded them up. There's nobody out. Caleb Joseph coming up, flat out to left field, his first time up. Seattle will play this for the double play. They'll let the run score if they can pick up the 2 outs in the middle of the infield. Let's see what the Orioles can do with it. Joseph on a swing and a miss, throttled back a bit on that at 87 miles an hour.
Yeah, Caleb worked with Scott Coolbaugh in the tunnel, in the cages, trying to just the bat's been looping a little bit. Right there, a pretty good changeup from Walker. Bases loaded, nobody out. Pretty gutsy pitch and perfectly executed.
Delivered to Joseph, fouled off.
See, when you're struggling and Caleb comes in at 182, you expand the zone. That ball probably, 4 inches off the inside corner, but you're anxious.
Coolbaugh right there turning away. Obviously, you get that 0-2 count, not where you want it to be. Caleb's had 1 chance with the bases loaded, 0 for 1. Orioles have had 1 grand slam this year. Down to third, and he got the base hit. Snyder will score. Hardy will be held as Seth Smith gets it in. So Joseph on a 2-strike count delivers the RBI single and makes it a 4-2 ball game.
Yeah, they try to come in on him, and what Caleb worked on is the angle of the bat, the contact. Are you staying above the ball? This time able to get a fastball, not a very good 2-strike pitch. And again, the Orioles worried down by 3 that ball is going to be caught. Rick Waite coming out, talk to his young pitcher.
So a walk and 3 consecutive singles here in the 4th inning have put the Orioles right back in it, now trailing by only 2, and they still have the bases loaded, and they've got Manny Machado coming up at the top of the order. So for the 22-year-old, a real tough spot, and it's those walks, as they always will, that get you in trouble. Machado drew a walk in the 1st and scored. Snyder drew a walk to lead off the 4th inning, and he has also scored. Danny Farquhar in the bullpen is, as you can see, really hustling to try and get warmed up. Sacks full, nobody out. Double play depth again. They play back. Good stop made Zunino.
Yeah, he
Walker
really
has only one wild pitch this year.
Yeah, he doesn't. Zadino does a nice job, Gary, and that's probably why, because he can scatter it. I mean, he's a young pitcher, but again, he hasn't thrown any sliders, and that's a great pitch to either strike people out, maybe get a double play ball. Just doesn't have that.
0 for 2 in bases loaded situations. There's 1 and there's 2, and that's what Seattle and Walker needed. A little comebacker ends up being a double play on the 1-2-3.
Well, you get in trouble with your fastball, and when you're young and you have a power arm, you can get out of trouble. Just a two-seam fastball that he swings at, maybe a little bit on the outside corner. Something you work on all spring. Get it to the catcher, get it out of the glove, and made a terrific play. And then Zadino doubles up Machado.
Still, there are 2 in scoring position with 2 away, so the Orioles still have a chance on a base hit right here to tie this ball game up. And they've got Paredes at the plate. Paredes swings and fouls it off. The Orioles are 3 for 4 in the game with runners in scoring position. And Paredes, of course, this year has been one of their best, hitting an amazing 10 for 20, 500. With runners in scoring position.
Yeah, the scouting report is out on Jimmy. Right there, change up. He's a good fastball hitter. There's another one. You can tell. I mean, he's got a power arm. That's a 90-mile-per-hour changeup. So he's hit enough fastballs on first pitch that they're going to try to make some adjustments.
Paredes carries a 300 lifetime average against Seattle in his career. 1 ball, 1 strike count. Another big at bat. Another big cut, foul tipped at the plate. And another one kept down by Walker.
Yeah, another changeup at 90.
The count at 1 ball and 2 strikes.
And Paredes looks very much like the second baseman of the Mariners, and Matt Robinson Cano. They both stand up at the plate. Both hit very relaxed. Certainly doesn't have the track record that Robinson's been able to establish.
1-2 delivery to him inside. That'll move him away a little bit.
A little extra at 95 and just misses.
That's what he likes to do. Ratchet it up a little bit to move you away.
And Zadino gives him the high target. And just a little bit inside.
2 ball, 2 strike count. And a ground ball towards the hole. That's going to be a base hit. It's going to tie the ball game up. Here comes Caleb Joseph. No play. And Paredes gets it done, and this game is knotted at 4.
Well, they go back to the fastball, and this is good hitting. You hit it where it's pitched. And let's watch this ball run away. It's not a horrible pitch. It may even be outside, but Jimmy Paredes is a big kid. Long arms, great bat control. Boy, when you get to 2 strikes, a couple of things can happen. You can either make contact or you don't, and he does, and he ties it up.
20 RBIs for Paredes. Who would have thought? Chris Davis has got 21. Adam Jones, of course, has been the Orioles leader all year. He's at 25. 2 down. The pitch will be taken outside for a ball. Adam up. He is flied out and struck out. Paredes getting the 2 RBIs, and now he's stretched his consecutive on-base streak to 20 games. 1-0 delivery to Jones. That's to the hole off the glove of Taylor. That'll be a base hit. And Walker's got to be just about done, even though it's not all his fault. The Orioles are hitting the baseball and getting on.
Oh, here comes Lloyd McClendon. I mean, he walked the first hitter, got unlucky on Hardy, and then after that, the Orioles have done a nice job of getting to the youngster.
So he will go only 3 2/3 innings. Another short outing for the 22-year-old. And Seattle will turn this ball game over to the bullpen as the Orioles have tied it up and have a chance to do better.
Walks the leadoff batter, and then the Orioles get to him. A lot of clutch hitting, especially the one by Jimmy Paredes. So 71 pitches, and again, your Jiffy Lube pitching change. It's time for a little relief for your car. Visit Jiffy Lube for regular oil changes and help prevent damage and wear to your engine. Jiffy Lube, drive in today. Farquhar comes on. I mean, great year last year. Numbers not quite as good. Fastball in the low 90s, 92, 93. He's got a cutter that's about 89, and then got a slider curveball. So the numbers last year at 2.66 ERA up, but again, only 17 games this year, and you can see what righties have done against him. 368.
Runners at first and second base, and a swing and a foul back by Chris Davis. Davis is the 8th Oriole to hit here in the 4th inning. He was walked twice by Walker, the starter. The two on the responsibility of Walker. Paredes down at second. Adam Jones on at first. Farquhar's delivery and a swing and a miss, turning that one over at 83 miles an hour.
Yeah, cutter in on the fist and then change up, down and away.
Orioles now with 7 hits in the ball game. Davis an 0 for 1 against this Seattle right-hander. Chris too with the good numbers, 9 for 32 with runners in scoring position. Complete shift on here with 2 down, and that pitch will miss. 1 ball, 2 strikeout on Chris. Orioles, Snyder, Hardy, De Aza, Joseph all reached 4 in a row to start the inning. And then after the double play, Paredes with a big 2 RBI base hit, and Jones a single, and he got him looking. So Farquhar comes on and will pick up the strikeout, but the Orioles will pick up the 3 they needed to tie it up 4-4. Orioles battling back, and we've got a 4-4 ball game as we go to the 5th inning. Gonzalez a couple of walks, 5 strikeouts, and will face the top of the order. Seth Smith, leadoff homer, and struck out his last time up. 4-7-0 for the Orioles, 4-4-0 for Seattle. Orioles now have left 6 on base, couple left on by the Mariners. Miller and then Cano will follow. That one's going to miss, and the count goes to 2-0.
Yeah, kind of a rebirth for Miguel Gonzalez. 2 mistakes. Fastball to Smith, who's at the plate, tried to get in, didn't get it in, and then the hanging curveball to Cruz for a 3-run home run.
2-0 delivery on the way to him, and that one's going to miss. So the count goes to 3-0.
Yeah, long inning, and you like to come out. Well, you always try to maximize the 9 warm-up pitches they give you.
See if Smith gets a green light here. 3-0 delivery on the way to him. He's taking it's in there for a strike. Gonzalez trying to keep his mark perfect here. 2-0. 2-1-8 here at Camden Yards this year. He's 16-9 in his career here in his home ballpark. ERA of 3.4. Outfield deep. Here's the 3-1 delivery, and a ball popped up. Manny Machado, long run, along with Snyder from left. Manny Machado will get there and put it away. And the first out of the 5th. Here's our PNC minor league report. First baseman outfielder Chris Parmelee.
Yeah, we saw him when he came up with the Twins, and usually would have a great start. Saw him a lot this spring. Boy, good defender. What a year he's having. The home runs, you can't ever look at anybody that, not that he plays all his games in Norfolk, but Norfolk's a pitcher's park, even though they brought the fences in. Wind blows, grass is usually pretty high. It's a nice little average.
Very nice, and a nice road streak getting on base. Here's Miller, goes after the first pitch. Hardy's going to go over. Snyder coming in. And Hardy makes the play, and that's in fair territory. Good play by the Orioles shortstop.
Yeah, you just assume it's going to be your ball till the outfielder calls you off. And Snyder playing a long way. He took that one look, and then I better go get it. You're right. It would have been a double if it drops.
And Gonzalez cheering on his shortstop on that one. Field coach Bobby Dickerson loves to see those guys make plays like that.
Well,
2 down.
Yeah, he has won 3 straight Gold Gloves.
Here is Robinson Cano. Cano a base hit, a run scored, and he has struck out. And the pitch is there in the outside corner for a strike.
Yeah, that's Brooks Robinson. We want to wish him a happy birthday. He turned 78 yesterday, and left a message. He called me back today, and kind of assumed when the Brooks Robinsons go chase them, they're going to catch him. Look at this.
Another one. Hardy again going back. Snyder, though, has got a lot easier play, and he'll put it away. So a 1-2-3 inning for Gonzalez. Ball game tied at 4. You need to be called on to pitch or hit. They're right next to the dugout. Gary Thorne.
Ball.
Yes. Gary Thorne, Jim Palmer with you. 4-4 ball game. We're seeing the veteranness, if you will, of Gonzalez coming through here in this game.
Well, he had a real short inning, and this is his 8th start. 4 of the starts, 6 or 7 innings. So that pitch count right there will allow him, unless the Mariners think otherwise, to probably get into the 7th inning again. Off day yesterday, so the bullpen is certainly well rested. And then time wide, Walker, good arm, but learning how to pitch at this level. Last year the Mariners had the best best pitching in baseball, and they also had the lowest ERA out of the bullpen. And for them, this is going to be a bullpen game.
And the pitch will be taken away. Farquhar stays on. He got the strikeout to end the last inning. Pierce leading off here in the bottom of the 5th. An RBI single, and he has grounded out in the ball game. Farquhar's delivery popped up right field. Cruz does just that, and one away for the Orioles. Snyder and then Hardy will be due up. Snyder drew that big walk in the 4th inning to kick it off, as Walker just could not find the strike zone on him, and that resulted in he would come around to score and also just open that inning up. The Orioles got 3 runs on 5 hits, and only a big double play, a 1-2-3 double play, really cut that inning down. Could have been a lot more. Farquhar with a 1-0 count. Infield plays him to pull, pitched away, and he'll fall behind him 2-0.
Yeah, Danny Farquhar, we saw him in Oakland, we saw him in Toronto. Got a good arm. 92, 93. There's the cutter. A lot of movement.
Shortstop coming over, been over by second base. Taylor's there. He puts it away, and there are 2 down. For every Orioles walk, Care First Blue Cross Blue Shield contributes $50, supporting the March of Dimes. 87 walks, $4,350. Care First Blue Cross Blue Shield encourages each of us to take that first step towards a healthier and more active lifestyle. Yankees got a 6-2 lead over Washington. A couple of highlights in that. Harper's got another home run, 10 home runs in the last 12 games for Harper. Nevertheless, the Yankees are on top. And Jacoby Ellsbury had to leave the game top of the 4th inning. A knee injury, right knee injury. Obviously no report yet on the seriousness of it. On the inside corner for a strike to Hardy, 1-1. JJ, a comebacker to second. To know that tremendous arm makes it look easy. And a 1-2-3 inning, 5 complete at Camden Yards. Ball game tied up. Orioles have come back from a 3-run deficit.
Familiar sight for Oriole fans, except wrong uniform. Cruz with a 3-run home run, his 16th. RBI 31-33. The Orioles come back. They're down 4-1. Caleb Joseph with an RBI single, and then Jimmy Paredes finds a hole. 2-strike base hit. Tie it up. And those are your Geico game highlights. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit geico.com for a free rate quote.
Infield moves around against Cruz with that big home run, his 16th in the 3rd inning. Good for 3 RBIs. And Gonzalez's delivery to him, a strike in the outside corner. 2 for 2 in the ball game. Also a base hit in the 1st for Nelson Cruz. Gonzalez 14 out of 22 first pitch strikes thrown in the ball game. 0-1 delivery on the way to him. Cruz will take it. Cruz has 18 home runs now. He's picked up as an opponent against the Orioles here at Camden Yards.
And every time when he's playing with Texas, which is where the Orioles saw him, always one swing away from a home run.
And a big cut. He got fooled on that one. Cruz is gone.
Oh, you talked about Miguel Gonzalez, veteran, gutsy guy. I mean, really, he's a pitcher. So when he makes a mistake, which he did on the curveball, you don't let it beat you. You come back. You do the only thing you're really taught to do, which is to compete. And then he makes a great pitch to get Cruz out here to lead off the sixth.
Kyle Seager up has struck out and flied out. One down. Seager with that .252 average. Their outstanding third baseman. Two real good ones in this game, Seager and Machado.
And we won the Gold Glove last year, and of course Manny was hurt. He had won the Platinum Glove the year before. Tuned in on Sunday. James Paxton shut out the Red Sox for 8 innings, and they brought in Breslow with a couple of guys on, and Seager hit the first pitch way up into the seats. Breslow, a lefty.
0-1 fouled off. He'd like to get a scouting report. The opposing manager, in this case Bud Showalter, on Seager. He said,
Seager's as good a third baseman as in baseball. He's solid. He can really hit. He's just a baseball player. Plays third base, handles himself against left-hand pitching well. Smart, plays the game right. Hits quality pitching late in the game. Tough out. That's enough, right? Seems to be a good teammate.
And what does he do? He delivers a base hit into left field.
Well, that's what Buck had in mind. That's a pretty good pitch. Now, if you're, at least where I was coming from, if I have a home run hitter and he hit 25 of them last year, and I throw him a low and away fastball, it teaches me something. Number one, that he can cover the outside corner with 2 strikes. The other thing is, I'm real happy he didn't take me deep.
Just get the single.
Well, that's right. And that's why when you locate your fastball, a lot of times you can do that. They're going to get their hits, but they don't get the big fly.
Here is Logan Morrison, a strikeout victim. He's popped out, the Seattle first baseman. Another left-handed bat in there. Hit number 5 for Seattle. 1 away.
He's got 5 home runs in the month of May.
Delivered to him. He put in the air to center. Adam Jones has got that one lined up. He'll make the catch, and there are 2 down. Let's take a look at our Mile 1 upcoming schedule. Brought to you by Mile 1 Automotive, offering you 20 convenient locations throughout the Baltimore area. Visit their in-store locations or online at mile1.com.
The Mariners, in quick series when you play 2 night games and then the day game and then go down. I've never been to the new park in Miami. I know where it is.
You'll like it.
Been by there.
Stay out of left field. Here is the new note.
Is that the Shark Tank or what?
No, that's the Clevelander. There are 2 down. Runner on at first base. Pitch on the way. And it'll be taken outside for a ball.
The Clevelander.
Yes. It's a downtown strip club that has an outlet right beside the left field bullpen.
Really?
Yes.
Visiting bullpen or a regular bullpen?
It's always a visiting bullpen. And obviously it's not a strip club there at the ballpark. It is, however, painted waitresses. 2 down. And the throw over.
Well, anything to distract the opposition. Right?
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it was put in. We did the World Baseball Classic down there, and it was the only time in a ball game where the bullpen phone rang and nobody answered. Nobody wanted to come into the game.
Well, give me a couple more pitches. I'll tell you when I'm ready.
Gonzalez with a great pitch away.
Oh, can't wait.
Now you're really excited. 1 ball, 1 strikeout, 2 down. Seager on at first. Miguel Gonzalez will work his way through this 7th inning. Pretty close to getting that done.
Yeah, home run power, though. You got to make your pitches.
1-1 delivered, 1-2. Well, the Orioles, 7 innings or more have been thrown in 4 straight games for the Orioles, not counting this one. Miguel Gonzalez did it to kick off that string. Then Wei-Yin Chen, Ubaldo Jimenez, and then of course you had Wright's great start with 7 1/3 innings work. 1-2, runner not going, and the ball will be popped up. Second base. Pierce is there, and he puts it away for the out. No runs on one hit, no errors, and one left on base. It's still 4-4. Bringing the lumber. Bringing the lumber is exactly what happened here, as the Orioles were able to put together a fourth inning of 3 runs on 5 hits in that inning, all kicked off by a leadoff walk picked up by Travis Snyder. And that tied the ball game up.
Yeah, very rarely do the Orioles are in this good a position when they're being out homered. The Mariners with a couple of home runs, a big one by Cruz. Farquhar, he's got good stuff and he's got good movement. The ball is moving.
Out of the bullpen for Seattle. And that down the line is a fair ball. Alejandro Diaz on his way to second base. Seth Smith will get it in, and the Orioles have a potential go-ahead run on here to lead off the 6th.
Yeah, you know, they teach you to throw that changeup down and away, and that's exactly what he does. And watch Diaz just serve it to left. Right off the end of the bat, one hands it. And then are you going to get lucky? Yeah, by a couple of feet. And then easily with his speed into second base.
So a 3-hit ball game for Alejandro Diaz, a season high. 2 singles, a double, a run scored already. And now Caleb Joseph will stand in.
So shoot one to right. Get him over. Maybe even get him in.
And he does down the line. That's going to fall in. That's going to be a base hit. Picked up in the corner. Diaz will come around to score. And a double. And 2 RBIs on a 2-hit night for the Oriole catcher and a 5-4 lead.
Well, not happy with his swing. You know, it is tough to catch at this level. He's been catching a lot, and he's going to get a little bit tired. Mechanics, so he worked on his stroke right here. Nice quick stroke. Hits it down. Going to really slice away from Cruz. No chance of catching it. Baza going to put the Orioles ahead 5-4. So not only does he get him over, he gets him in, and he gets himself into scoring position.
So Caleb Joseph continues his unbelievable performances. That ball is bunted and popped up to the pitcher. So Manny Machado trying to bunt his way on. Pops out to Farquhar for the first out. Obviously bunting, wanting a base hit there, not just a sacrifice.
Yeah. He doesn't bunt a whole lot, so probably not a high percentage play. The other part of it is he's one of the, he's probably your ideal number 2 hitter. Eventually he's going to be a 3 or 4 hitter, but he can hit the ball to the right side with the best of them. Just thought he could get it down, and he didn't.
So now 1 away. Paredes already has a big 2 RBI single that came in the 4th inning. And will take the pitch down low for a ball. 1-0 count, 1 away. 1 for 3 in the ball game for the Orioles switch hitter. There is Caleb Joseph at second base. 5-4 Orioles up, 9 hits in the game, and the pitch will be taken up high. So the Orioles on the verge of breaking their 8-game streak of not having a double-digit hit mark on the board, as they've got 9.
Probably be another changeup. Stay away from the fastball.
2-0, big cutter.
Yeah, the cutter, you just throw it. You hold the ball off center and pretty much throw it like a fastball, and then it just cuts. It veers. You don't. If you're a hitter, you don't see the spin. So the good ones, it just kind of, at least ideally, moves away from the bat hit. Hard to track if you're hitting.
2-1 delivery on the way. Brady's real good eye. Not even leaning on that one, and a 3-ball 1-strike count.
Yeah, and then if you're Danny Farquhar, you look on deck and you see Adam Jones. That shadow, hard to miss.
Here's the 3-1 pitch in the air to left field. Hit hard and deep, and goodbye, home run. Oh, mercy. Paredes just continues on his season-long tear as he delivers home run number 6. And he has a 4 RBI ball game, and the Orioles lead at 7-4.
And both of those hits to left field. This one obviously does the same amount of damage. Boy, you think you're making good pitches, and he just goes with them. And like he did up in Toronto, home run power to the opposite field.
Brady Brown Jr., our Maryland lottery contestant, a home run for you, $500. Paredes gives the Orioles a 7-4 lead. They had trailed in this game at one point 4-1.
We'll take a look right here. I mean, it's outside corner, but it's up, so you get a little more leverage. Again, a big guy lets the ball travel and just smacks it. This is as much as I would like to pitch in this era, I'm not sure I like to pitch at this ballpark. You can't really pitch at the power alleys. They're so hitter friendly here. You know, other ballparks, maybe that would have been off the top of the wall. Maybe you would have caught on the warning track. But when you have his kind of power, Adam Jones' kind of power, great place to hit.
Up and into him. Adam moving back. There's Paredes, one of the big stories here in the first couple of months of this season, not just for the Orioles, but in baseball. The numbers he's putting up. Adam jammed on it, will foul it off. Paredes came in hitting .357 here at home. He's now had 3 home runs, so 3 at Camden Yards, 3 on the road. And Mark Lowe up in the bullpen for Seattle. 4 RBI ball game for Paredes, a career high for him. 1-2 delivery to Jones. That will be foul back.
Yeah, we've seen Adam. I mean, Adam last year when the Orioles were in Chicago, for practically for the whole week, they beat the White Sox 3 in a row, 3 close games. But he's that kind of power to right center field. I'm not sure if he's hit a home run to right field here yet this year, but he will.
1-2 delivery to him. Did he go?
Right there. No way. Yeah, totally different hitter. Adam Jones this year, as far as hitting with 2 strikes, came into the weekend series at .304. Last year, the league average at 176. Yeah, it's only 2 months into the season, but really been able to throttle down, as you say, Gary, with 2 strikes.
2-2 delivery to him in the air to center. That's dead center field. Almost 400 feet away, and the fly ball, and Ackley will be there to put it away. Let's take a look at this date in baseball history. Orioles baseball on MSN, brought to you by University of Maryland University College. 1959, O's pitcher Billy O'Dell, one of the shortest home runs ever, 120 feet. It was at Memorial Stadium. It bounced off a glove and got by the outfielder, rolled out in the left center, and next thing you know, he was home. And in 1910, Cy Young won his 500th career game. Put the other way by Davis. Sliding catch made by Seth Smith. Davis retired, but the Orioles hit the ball hard. A home run, couple of doubles. A big night for Paredes as he delivers home run number 6. And the Orioles take a 7-4 lead. brought to you by DraftKings. Play daily fantasy baseball for free on DraftKings.com. Enter promo code TRIPLEPLAY for free entry. And by Ocean City, Maryland. Put your vacation days to good use in Ocean City, Maryland. Book now at OCOcean.com. 80-degree night when we started here. You see virtually no breeze here at Camden Yards. The Orioles have a 7-4 lead, and we go to the 7th inning.
Yeah, 6 unanswered runs, and so let's give Miguel Gonzalez a P for perseverance. He did not fall apart after he gave up the hanging curveball 3-run home run to Nelson Cruz. Made it 4-1.
1-0 delivery on the way. And that one is going to miss. Ackley has had a walk and he has grounded out. Ackley, Taylor, and then Smith at the top of the order. Orioles have hit that double-digit mark with 10 hits, 7 runs and 10 hits. And that is in there for a strike to Ackley. Ryan Mattis in the bullpen for the Orioles.
Yeah, all the lefties, you would think this would be a nice little matchup time for O'Brien. He's not pitched in 9 days. Last time he pitched was up in New York.
Did he go check at third? Yes. Sam Holbrook.
Yeah, nice little slider, fastball count. Guy really struggling. Couldn't stop the swing, so you get back into the count.
2-2 on Ackley. And Gonzalez outside with it, so the count full. Now Seattle in the same position the Orioles were, needing base runners. Orioles were obliged with a leadoff walk.
That's why the 2-2 pitch is so important. You don't even go to 3-2.
Full count delivery on the way, and he got him.
Yeah, this is just amazing how a guy that's a former #1 draft choice, and this tells you the mental part of hitting. It's not all physical. I mean, the target's not there, but that's a strike. You can't even get the bat over his shoulder because you become brain dead. It's kind of like when you're pitching poorly, you're afraid to throw it over. When you do, you get bad results. When you don't throw it over, you get worse results because everybody gets frustrated and you get into one of those funks, and it's hard to get out of it.
Here is Chris Taylor. Taylor has walked and scored, also has flied out to center. 7 strikeouts for Gonzalez in the game. His season high is 10 Ks that he picked up against the Yankees, which also was a career high in his second start of the year.
Yeah, pitch count manageable at 91, so you would think with a well-rested bullpen off day, as you mentioned, the starters have been going deep into the game. Your Buck Showalter, you got a lot of ammo out there.
0-1 delivery on the way by Gonzalez, and that hit him in the batter's box, and that one hurt.
Just running the fastball in on him after that first 11-pitch walk back in the first, or actually, make it the third. This time trying to go in, and he does, and then right down on the top of his left foot. And it does hurt. It'll even hurt more tomorrow.
Home run by Smith leading off the ball game. 3-run homer by Nelson Cruz in the 3rd inning. No scoring sense for Seattle. The Orioles have come rattling back here to take the 7-4 lead. That'll be outside. Slider away. And a 1-ball 2-strike count. 93 pitches thrown by Gonzalez so far. He's been over 100 in 3 of the previous starts made. 1-2 pitch that really tied him up. Foul tipped into the mid, held on to by Joseph.
Yeah, he tried to stop the bat. I'm not sure he did, but it's kind of a moot point when the ball, and again they come back inside, tips the bat. You can see the home plate umpire James Hoy saying it actually hit. I wonder if it hit his hand. And he tries to check, and of course he doesn't argue. The ball was way up by the knob of the bat.
Didn't argue the foul tip into the mitt.
No.
Gonzalez waiting. Defense shifting around. Seth Smith, leadoff homer, 4th of the year. Since has struck out and popped out. 2 down, 7th inning. And that's going to be in there for a strike.
Yeah, you can see the body language there. Now all of a sudden, Miguel Gonzalez, I mean, really, he's pitched a marvelous game with the exception of the hanging curveball to Cruz. Really back on track. Cutting it away, curveballs, splitters, fastballs on the corner. 92 here in the 7th. hardest fastball he's thrown. Why? Because he's got rhythm with his windup. Nelly Cruz seen this before. He was his teammate last year and one of the more consistent pitcher for the Orioles, along with Tillman the second half of the year.
0-2 delivery by Gonzalez, and he will miss up high to Smith. So 1 ball, 2 strikeout. Trying to finish up here with a clean inning in the 7th inning. He retired the side in order in the 5th and in the 2nd. Here's the 1-2 delivery and a chopper. Gonzalez underhands it, and he does. So another solid inning for the Orioles starter. Retires the side in order. 7th inning stretch time. Orioles up by 3. For Manny Machado, this is a benefit that was held yesterday. Cal was there, bowling the heck out of it, and raising more than $75,000 for inner city baseball here in Baltimore. 2nd year that Manny and his wife have been there. It's a great turnout by his teammates. Nelson Cruz came, the coaches were there, Buck was there, and they have a great time bowling. And there are corporate sponsors and individuals who donate monies to come and join the Manny and company. And a great job by Manny, and some great work done by the kids for the inner city baseball program. It sure looks like there'll be a 3rd.
So Mark Lowe comes in, a lot of fastballs. Why? Because he throws about 95. And of course, he started all the way back in 2006 pitching for the Mariners, and then Texas, Cleveland. We actually saw him. Ended up with Cleveland last year. We saw him. He started a game for Tampa Bay in spring training in 2014. So back in the big leagues, throwing real hard with a nice little breaking ball.
So Lowe's job to hold the Orioles. Bottom half of the 7th inning. Pierce goes to left, very deep. Says Smith, no chance. Smith was way back. Pierce has got a 2-hit ball game, a single leading off the 7th inning. Join us again tomorrow as it'll be Wei and Chen taking the mound against Ryan Elias. Game 2. It's our coverage on Masson 2 beginning at 6:30. O's Extra presented by Southwest, followed by game coverage at 7. All the access you need right here on Masson.
So there is Mr. Chen. I'm sure he'll know the number. Nelson Cruz hitting .591 against left-handed pitching. He'll be throwing right-handed tomorrow night. At least the Nelson.
Ronald Elias with an 0-1 mark, 3.24 ERA.
Yeah, good young pitcher. So maybe a little bit more of a finesse pitcher than Wei and Chen, who, boy, he can use all his pitches, but a fastball guy, fly ball pitcher.
Snyder drew a walk and has picked up a run scored. 0 for 2 officially. And an 0-2 count on him. Leadoff man on again for the Orioles here in the 7th inning. For the Orioles, they sure hope what they're seeing out of Steve Pearce right now is going to hang on for the rest of the season. His bat is coming alive for the Orioles. A couple of multi-hit games in the last 3. And Steve Pearce has now had 5 multi-hit games on the year.
Yeah, he worked the count, got exactly where he wants. We talked about Ron Riz, who works for the Mariners. I introduced him as he's our Gold Glove second baseman. Don't tell Robinson to know that, but then Steve looked at me and he said, I'm also going to win the Silver Slugger at second base. So yeah, he's feeling better about his swing.
1-2 delivery. There's a swing. That's into the gap. Cruz over and he missed it. It's going to go all the way to the warning track. That will bring Pearce home. Heading over to third. Snyder, he'll stop there as Nelson Cruz had it go by him. That'll be probably a base hit and an error. We'll see if they give him an RBI on it. But a run scores and the Orioles lead at 8-4.
Yeah, I would imagine you got to like Travis Snyder tonight. He got the big walk right here, singes a line drive. But it's going to be first and third. And then Cruz just flat out misses it. And here comes your 8th run. And then all the way to third on the error goes Travis Snyder.
So the Orioles take advantage of that. And there's David Lowe, who's come on to pinch run for Snyder. The Orioles back-to-back hits here. And here's J.J. Hardy. The infield will try and cut this run down on a ground ball. Hardy a base hit. He is 1 for 3. And he will take the pitch on the inside corner. So Hardy, chance for an RBI. 8 runs on 12 hits now. Error charge, allowing Snyder to get over there to third base. First error we've had in the ball game called on Cruz. And off the end of the bat and foul. So Nelson Cruz has had it all in his comeback, in his return. He got the 3-run homer, 3rd inning, gave his club a 4-1 lead. Then he had a strikeout later in the ball game with a chance to start an inning out. Now has had the error charged. And that one's going to be down low.
Yeah, if you just tuned in, it was 4-1 Seattle. And then Taijuan Walker, good arm, and just lost a little bit of command of his stuff. 22-year-old right-hander.
No RBI on that run, by the way. Here's the 1-2 delivery by Lowe. Goes up after one and gets the strikeout.
Yeah, well, that's what he's looking for. Infield in, as you mentioned. Don't want to give up any more runs. Keep it in within the grand slam territory, and he just goes up the ladder at 95. Really, what sets up this pitch, obviously the movement and velocity, but the low and away sliders. With 2 strikes, always hard to protect.
Well, Diaz's already had a big game and a chance to add to it. He is 1 for 3 against Lowe. The infield stays in. Looking for a 4-hit ball game, 2 singles, a double, 2 runs scored. Low off third base, and the pitch will be away for a ball.
Yeah, the more you see of Alejandro Diaz, you know he's a fastball hitter, but he's a low fastball hitter. And you know that the breaking ball can give him trouble, especially down and in.
Here's the 1-0 delivery to him. He's going to get that hitter's count off the fastball up high. Count goes to 2-0 and Diaz. Alejandro getting the start in right field. Fuqua gave up 3 runs, 3 hits, and 2 in the 3rd out of the bullpen. No walks and a strikeout.
Yeah, so they'll
give him the intentional pass.
Yeah, try to get out of the inning with Joseph. I mean, Caleb's have a nice night. Singled in a run, sliced a double down their line. But the intention is 1 pitch, double play, get out of trouble.
So there's the intentional pass. Alejandro Diaz draws it, and that's the challenge for Caleb Joseph. Joseph 0 for 2 off Lowe.
Yeah, these are how these games play out when you get behind. If you're Lloyd McClendon, you have to make these moves. You put more runners on with the intentions of not giving up the extra run, which will make it 9-4.
1 down. De Aza will get low to look over there as he steps off an early lead. Joseph will take the pitch for a strike on the outside corner. Alejandro De Aza, he's stolen a couple of bases, 2 for 4. Orioles have 1 stolen base. Machado got it first inning off the starter Walker. Runners off first and third. 0-1.
A really good slider. And you stand on deck and you're going, okay, this guy could get it up there. Then he drops that kind of pitch, even though you're hitting off the fastball, and the good slider, and he has one, you just don't pick the spin up unless he hangs it.
0-2 count. Low the lead runner at third. De Aza first. Fastball. 95 up, way up. And a 1-ball, 2-strike count. Caleb too has just had great numbers here, hitting in his own yard this season. Joseph came in 279 here at home. All 3 of his home runs have been on the road. And down to third base. They'll try for 2. The relay to first by Cano, and that's why they walked De Aza, and it worked. But the Orioles will pick up a run on a couple of hits. They will leave 1 on base, extending the lead to 8-4. Get into a little early trouble, you just stay out there and keep pumping, and that's what he did, and he leaves with a chance to be the winner.
Yeah, last year they only got him about 4.5 runs a game. This year it's about 5.5, even more tonight, but he really started making some pitches. And again, you go back and look at this game, only the hanging curveball to Cruz, the big mistake, but it was a 3-run home run. Orioles come back. Sometimes you pitch well, and they don't score your runs. Tonight he really gets it back in track, and then they come up with 8 runs. So there they are. How about that? 98 pitches, 68 of them over the plate for strikes. And Brian Mattis will come on. And again, you can see a lot of breaking balls, a lot of changeup. Little different pitcher. Hasn't pitched since the 10th of May. That was up in New York. Did give up a home run. But again, only 1 hit in his last 5 appearances, and that was the home run to Brian McCann.
So with the 7-inning performance by Gonzalez, that's 5 straight starts for the Orioles, going 7 or more innings, and they've done that 11 out of the last 17 now. So the starters picking up the pace down the line. That will be a foul ball as Miller got around on it. David Lowe has moved into left field after coming in to run for Snyder.
Yeah, 3 of the first 4 hitters left-handed, and you're not going to pinch hit for a guy that was American League Player of the Year or of the week, and that was Brad Miller with his 4 home runs.
He is 0 for 3 in the ball game tonight. Off the end of the bat to right field, De Aza. This copyrighted telecast presented by authority of the Orioles may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Orioles. One away in the 8th. Robinson Cano coming up, base hit, run scored. He is 1 for 3, hitting only 162 against left-handers.
Yeah, those are such aberrational numbers.
Man.
I mean, this guy's really, I mean, whatever's in his hands usually is his magic wand. That's how good a hitter he is. And, you know, the runner in scoring position number down this year, 339 last year. And, of course, they got Nelly Cruz to hit behind him and protect him, and he has.
He hit 294 against left-handers last year. So you want to know why his overall average is down. You drop from 294 to 162 off southpaws. It's going to be down with Cruz there or not. 0-1 delivery on the way. Cano will pick up a base hit here. It'll be picked up on a hop by De Aza. So a 2-hit ball game for Cano. 1 down, 1 on. This past February, the Orioles served as the mission engagement chair of the American Heart Association's Baltimore Hardball. With the event chair, SunTrust, they helped raise more than $679,000 for cardiovascular disease research, education, and advocacy programs. Find out how you can help at Orioles.com/AHA and do your part for the cause.
Yeah, lefties only came in hitting 133. And then this year for Brian, great job against right-handers. They're only hitting 231. Remember, 591 is the batting average Nelly Cruz has off left-handed pitching.
Nelson Cruz, the home run came in the 3rd inning, 3-run shot, league leading 16th. Picked up a base hit in the 1st, 1 for 3 in the ball, 2 for 3 in the ball game. Runner on at first base. Cruz will take the pitch on the outside corner for a strike.
Yeah, that's the pitch that Brian worked on all spring long, and much better this year. That's what we showed you, almost 30% as you look at Darren O'Day, the sidewinder for the Orioles, getting loose.
3 doubles, the home run off Brian Mattis for Cruz. 1-1 delivery to him, came back inside, caught the spot beautifully in a 1-2 count. So 1-2 on Cruz with 1 away. Orioles, who are 9-7 here at home, trying to pick up that double-digit win here at Camden Yards. That didn't miss by much on the inside-outside work.
Well, change up or fastball that he thought was probably a little bit low, and then try to buzz the outside corner. Very, very close. Great idea. I mean, this is Brian Mattis when he was a starter. Command of his arm side, not the glove side, which is into righties and away from lefties.
2-ball, 2-strike delivery on the way underneath the back foot that time. So a 3-ball, 2-strike count. Cano on at first base, only 1 away. Takes a look over at third to see whether or not he might be running here.
Well, the scoreboard tells you you need to make him put the ball in play here. Got to throw him something he's going to chase, and he did not even close. Well, there's your 9 days. You kind of wonder. Here we are on May 19th, the last time you pitched, and you bring in Mattis because 3 of the 4 first hitters are lefties, but these guys hit left-handed pitching.
So 2 on, gets a little dicey with the Orioles up 8-4. And Kyle Seager coming up. Seager's had a base hit. He is 1 for 3, extending his hit streak to 5 games. And he's got a bat that's got some long ball in it. They've only had 1 chance with a runner in scoring position. They're 1 for 1. And the pitch, a swing and a miss as he went back to 83 miles an hour in that one. There's the lefty-righty matchup for Seager at 276.
Well, we told you they bring in Breslow, and he's a left-hander for the Red Sox. First pitch was a fastball, and he hit the home run on Sunday. That first pitch was a good slider. Couldn't throw it any better than Brian Mattis did.
2 on, 1 down. 0-1 delivery to him, a chopper. Not hit very hard. There's one. Pierce off the mark. Good play. That'll save a run as Chris Davis went off the bag, and the runner is called safe at first. He came off the bag and looked like he made a turn to second. Chris Davis tagged him, And Buck Showalter coming out to ask.
Yeah, well, first of all, I mean, right here, heads up play, and then the throw way off the line. So there's Chris Davis. And I think he just slid. I don't think he made any intent to go. But right here, I mean, he just steps over the bag and hits the back part of the bag maybe with his heel, or did he touch it? I think you probably could argue this play. Did he actually touch first base?
With the intent to turn, right?
Oh, yeah, I think he does get the top of the bag.
Ugh.
Yeah, he just slipped. But a heads-up play by Chris Davis, because if you interpret that as he made any kind of feint to first, or to second, excuse me.
Fortunately, he's all right. That's a play where you could really get hurt. Knee, ankle, leg, coming across the bag the way he did. So it's a fielder's choice to get the out at second. Cano moves over to third. So the Mariners have third and first, but there are now 2 down. 2 away, 2 on, so the infield can back up. And the pitch put up in the air. Morrison will go to left center field. Over to get it is low, and that will retire the side. No runs wanted, no errors. 2 are left on base. The Orioles up by 4. For the Orioles, couple of big hits.
Oh, yeah. Well, again, Diaz gets 3. Joseph gets the base hit. Here's a double by Joseph, and Diaz will score. So all kinds of different hits by the Orioles offense, trailing 4-1 at one point, and then 7 unanswered runs. 12 hits tonight.
Diaz has reached 4 times in the ball game. Take a look at the 8 and 9 hitters, Diaz and Joseph. They have combined in the ball game for 5 hits, and they have been on base 7 times in the ball game, 6 times in the ball game. I mean, the 8 and 9 hitters really doing a number for the Orioles offensively tonight. Here's Manny Machado, bottom half of the 8th inning. Manny will take it down low. Manny a walk, scored in the first, is headed to a double play and popped out. RBIs, 4 RBIs. Paredes in the ball game. Big night for him. Joseph has picked up 2. And Pierce, an RBI base hit. 1 scored on an error. Foul back. Lowe came on. Last inning, a run on 2 hits. With 1 left on base. 1 ball, 1 strike count on Manny. One delivery on the way to him, and a swing and a miss. Good movement away.
Yeah. Well, Mark Lowe, I mean, some physical problems early, but when he came up with Seattle, I mean, he could flat out throw. 95 tonight, but even a little bit firmer back in the day, so to speak. 2006.
1-2 went the other way. Cano misses it, and he's got to chase it down as he got enough of it that it stopped rolling. So Robinson Cano, that's a ball that we would expect him to field. It will be a single.
Yeah, hit very sharply, but he usually picks that ball.
That will bring up Paredes, our Alexis Towson drive of the game.
Yeah, you're Danny Farcrow. He really didn't make that bad a pitch till it went into the seats. You could see him hang his head because the ball's off the plate, up a little bit.
Our drive of the game brought to you by Lexus of Towson, the area's #1 volume Lexus dealer. 5 years running. See why at lexusoftowson.com. Those numbers for Paredes. 350 plus average he keeps moving around with. Got 7 doubles, 6 home runs, 22 RBIs.
Yeah, they throw him some breaking balls, but we've seen that if you don't make quality pitches with him, he hits those too.
0-1 count, runner at first.
Yeah, see,
he doesn't get
there's a slider in. Yeah, no.
Pablo Sandoval's left the ball game tonight. He got hit on the knee, had to be helped off the field after being hit by a pitch on the knee. So Sandoval out in their ball game tonight. The Red Sox. 0-2 count. And a check swing that he did not go around on.
Well, there's some strength, folks. When you can stop the bat like that, I played with Boog and Frank Robinson. You see Jim Rice, Hall of Famer. They'd start the bat, and they're so strong, they just stop it. And of course, you can also tell the umpire you did.
Yes.
Makes it even more impressive.
1-2 count. Low that high set, foul back into the screen. Now Paredes with a 1-2 count. Low trying to hold the score here. 8-13-0 for the Orioles. 4-6-1 for Seattle. Machado over there at first base. On a couple of times in this ball game. Not getting a big lead, held by Morrison. Low's delivery to him will come inside. 2-2 count. Right back with you tomorrow night. Game 2 of this series as the Orioles be finishing up a homestand. Wei-Yin Chen. Ronas Elias. There's the lefty for the Orioles who'll go. Chen with a 1-2 mark, but a 2.53 ERA.
He's really pitched well. Got out pitched by Jeff Weaver the other night. There's a great take.
3-2.
Did I say Jeff Weaver? Jared Weaver.
Jeff's a good name.
Well, Jeff used to pitch. He's retired. Living the life, no doubt. Why not?
Three ball, 2-strike count. Paredes working low. Machado going down to first and foul. And Manny will make his way back.
Well, you could really see the difference. The knees repaired over the last couple of years, and then also getting older. Not old, but older, 22, and really worked hard on the speed factor. You just see the way he runs now, leading the club in stolen bases. But he won't be running here. He'll be running on the pitch maybe, or after the
3-2 delivery, not going, and that'll be fouled off. Paredes, good job here against Lowe, battling him in a 3-ball, 2-strike count.
Well, you kind of read the bat. I mean, it makes it a little more difficult when the count goes full and you can't, pitch out of the zone. You have to throw something enticing enough that you'll get the hitter to swing. But you read the bat, and when he went fastball out over the plate, he had a pretty good swing. So he's trying to stay out of that zone.
3-2 from Lowe again. And he ran once, didn't run the last time, and Lowe, thinking he might be going again, makes the throw over.
Yeah, what you're hoping is that you get him leaning and then you get an out, and then you'll have first base open for Paredes. That's how hot he is.
Infield, of course, playing for 2. 3-2, runner not going. Paredes fouls it off again. First of the East Coast trip for the Mariners here in Baltimore. It's going to be 9 games, 3 here, 3 against Toronto, and 3 against the Rays. And Seattle comes out of their division in the West to go against the American League East. The Orioles winning 5 out of 7 in the series last year. They lead in the all-time matchup against Seattle. Runner goes, throw down and high. Wow, Zunino that time a little casual on the throw after the strikeout.
Yeah, of course he doesn't know that he's going to swing, so it's 3-2. If Manny takes a look this time, and then the throw not a good one. As we mentioned, he came in 10 for 24 and just balls up. That's the difference between an out and a stolen base. You can see the foot get in under the tag by Chris Taylor.
So the steal is a career high for Manny. He's got 7, 2 of them coming in this game. And he gets himself in scoring position with only 1 down. Adam Jones, a base hit, could have been a home run first inning, robbed by Seth Smith and left. And go after 1 away, and a 1-for-4 ball game so far for Adam. Solid numbers for the Orioles center fielder as they've been for the first 2 months. Adam moving back into the top 10 in average starting today. He and Nelson Cruz in this ball game, both in the top 10. 0-1 delivery by Lowe. That's on the outside corner for a strike. We talk about chances tonight. 6 for 12 for the Orioles with runners in scoring position. They're going to push that average back up close to 300 as a team. 0-2. Cano very close to second base against him. That goes all the way to the backstop. Wild pitch.
Yeah, Zunino, no chance. That's how far that ball was outside. Sometimes you just over rotate. You can see him just pull and again at 93 miles per hour. Mike Zunino, no chance to get leather on it. Now you got to play your infield in again. Helps Adam Jones.
1 ball, 2 strike count. Only 1 down. So Adam with a lot of room to put a ball through here for an RBI. 1-2 pitch on the way from Lowe. Trying to lift it, and it will be fouled away. Orioles on the season have put up 4 sacrifice flies. They seem to all come at the same time. Nobody's got more than 1 in the year in that department. Adam has none. 1-2. Machado off third base in the dirt.
Nice little block there. Yeah. Well, #1 draft choice, and in fact we were up in Seattle when they signed him out of University of Florida. A rush to the big leagues, and powerful guy, but defensively does a lot of things good. He really does give you a good target. I mean, if you don't, he'll move late. You'll see him move late, then he'll give you the glove right there. Breaking ball.
2-2 delivery. Runners not going. Taylor makes the throw. So the drawn in infield protects against that run scoring, and now there are 2 away.
Yeah, great pitch by Mark Lowe. Kind of pitch you have to make with the infield in. He's trying to get a ground ball. Of course, Adams trying to get something hit in the air.
So Lloyd McClendon on his way out, second-year manager with Seattle. He'll make the pitching change here. And with a runner on, Manny Machado at third, 2 down. Chris Davis will try and get him home. the best of Bruce Chen on Twitter announcing his retirement. I'd like to announce my retirement. The last 22 years I've been doing what I love for a living. I feel blessed and fortunate. I've played and faced the best players in the world, lived in great cities, made long-lasting memories and friends. And Baltimore, of course, one of those cities where Bruce Chen pitched. You see, overall, 82-81 his record with the Orioles. He went 15-18, 4.6 ERA. Good teammate, good guy, Bruce Chen, and decided to hang him up.
Fabulous guy out of Panama, and came up with the Atlanta Braves, and his minor league numbers reminded you he's going to be the next Tom Glavine. Yeah. So he never really had that, but one year he won 13 games. Rodrigo Lopez 15, and Bruce. So Beimel comes on. He started the year. He was actually released on March 23rd by the Texas Rangers, and then they snapped him up here. 4 out of 5 of his appearances scoreless.
Chris Davis with a runner on at third base. Manny Machado. There are 2 down. Infield shift on Tyler Wilson, who has joined the Orioles bullpen. Darren O'Day's been up before in this ball game.
Maybe O'Day to come in and Wilson to get his throwing in.
1-0 delivered to Davis. That's going to get away. It's going to score a run. And that's probably a pass ball.
Yeah, I mean, he just boxed it. I mean, balls do move. But again, at this level, and Mike Zunino, a good receiver, as we mentioned, he just misses it. It goes out. I mean, maybe could have turned the glove the other way, but doesn't think it's going to move that much. And next thing you know, right by, so the Orioles get their 9th run.
It's quite a trip around the bases for Manny. He got a single and then running. Ended up with a stolen base. Wild pitched over to third and pass ball. He scores. 2-0 delivery to Davis. In the air to center. Ackley. He'll put it away, and that will do it. The Orioles are just 3 outs away from putting up a W. As we go to the 9th inning, the Orioles lead it 9-4. On Masson, brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. And by PNC for the achiever in you. Gary Thorne, Jim Palmer. The Orioles have a 9-4 lead to open up this series. Gonzalez a chance to win his 5th, and O'Day to try and finish it up.
Yeah, a lot of fastballs. I mean, very difficult arm angle. With a side armor, submariner. Again, breaking balls, occasional changeup, which he's worked on. If he's ever going to throw one, you might see it tonight with a 5-run lead. And then again, Darren, you can see lefties hitting him a little bit higher like they did the year before last. But again, he's all business, so he's looking for 3 outs, regardless of the scoreboard.
Zunino will lead it off. The Seattle catchers had an 0 for 3 in the ball game. And the pitch is taken away for a ball. Bottom third of the order coming up. So the Orioles, after their 17th win, could move Seattle to 4 games under 500. Seattle came in trailing the division leader by 7 games. He's taking, it's there for his strike. Houston, of course, with a great start, leading the Angels by 5.5 and Seattle by 7.
Yeah, they're hoping after that 10-game winning streak that they'll come back to the pack. Seattle also has to get Iwakuma back. A really good starting pitcher, had a finger injury. And then score some runs. Boy, it looked like tonight was going to be one of those nights. And then Miguel Gonzalez just slammed the door.
2 ball, 1 strike count on Zunino. Inside corner. Orioles with the 9 runs they've put up tonight. That's the most they've had in 16 games. Had the 26th of last month against Boston. They had a big offensive explosion. Since then, rather quiet. Not tonight. 9 runs, 13 hits. Zunino has to protect, fouls it away. 19,494 on this Tuesday night to open up the series. 19,494.
Yeah, the Red Sox team ERA against the Orioles is 6.14. Toronto 5.11. That's what's 15 games, 9 against the Jays, 6 against the Red Sox. Offensively, Orioles have done a number against those teams.
Up high and the count goes full. So O'Day, 3 ball, 2 strike count. Farquhar stands to be the loser in this. He came on in relief in a tie game, went 2 1/3, gave up 3 runs on 3 hits. No walks and 1 strikeout. Walker, the starter, 4 runs, 7 hits, only went 3 2/3 innings. Zunino waiting on a 3-2. It'll be breaking towards right. Jones did too when he got there first.
Yeah, he gets such good jumps on balls. I mean, that's a great pitch by Darren O'Day, so you're not going to hit it hard. It's a slider down and away, right off the end of the bat. But again, no drop step. Great read off the bat. He makes it look routine, which is why he's won 4 Gold Gloves. He has gotten, I mean, he is just, you know, I was spoiled by having Paul Blair a lot of the years that I pitched, but Paul won 8 Gold Gloves, but Adam, boy, he has made himself into one great center fielder.
O'Day's delivery is in there for a strike, 1 down, 9th inning. Ackley has had an 0 for 2 and a walk in the game. Gonzalez gave up 4 runs, 5 hits over 7. He's going to go 5 and 2. Brian Mattis worked an inning. 1 walk, 1 hit. Now O'Day on to finish it up. Ooh, got him. So Ackley will take first.
Painful way to get on, but they need runners. Yeah, I think this is the changeup that we talked about, Gary. Yeah, changeup grip, figured okay, 5-run lead, and then pulls it right across the plate and hits Dustin Ackley.
First hit batter O'Day's had this year. So it puts a runner on and brings up Chris Taylor. Taylor, their shortstop, still looking to get out of the 0 for. He's up to 0 for 12 now. He did reach on a walk in the 3rd inning and scored on the Cruz home run. He'll take that one for a strike. Seattle's been playing a lot of close ball games and winning a number of them. Prior to this game, 32 out of 37 games, 32 out of 37 have been decided by 3 runs or less. And they had gone 10 consecutive ball games where they had not given up more than 4 runs in a game. So tonight, all of that goes in the other direction. They've given up the 9 runs. And it's not going to be, unless there's a major comeback here, a close ball game. One and 2 on Taylor. Today's got the top of the order. Seth Smith due up next. Chased that high heater and could not catch up to it.
Yeah, you know, you live around the ankles and the kneecaps for a couple of pitches, and then you run the ball right up the ladder. And that's a 4-seamer. He can elevate with the best of them. So just moving the ball around. could see Chris Taylor just trying to get the bat head to the ball, just couldn't do it.
So 2 down. The Orioles 1 out away from putting the ball game away. Smith, the home run, leading off the ball game. Since 0 for 3. Runner will take second. No stolen base. Defensive indifference. Oh, 1 count. Pitch on the way, will be on the outside corner for a strike. 0-2, 2 down, 9th inning. Runner on at second. Fans are up. O'Day's delivery to him will ride inside.
And there's 4 RBIs. Jimmy Paredes. Clutch hitting tonight. 2-out base hit. Tied it up and then homered to the opposite field.
1-2. O'Day will just miss with that one. 2 ball, 2 strike count. Orioles trying to get back to winning series as they did last season. The Orioles losing that series to the Angels, of course. They're now 6-5-1. Their series record. And these first games of the series have been a problem for them this year. They'll be happy to put this one away in game 1. 2-2 delivery on the way. That'll be blooped. Could be a problem. Machado. Nope. That's the ball game. 9th inning. No runs, no hits, no errors. A base runner left on. And the Orioles open it up with a 9-4 win, coming away with a 13-hit attack in this ball game. He'll come back and be joined by one of the RBI leaders in this game. But there's your final. Gonzalez gets the win. He's now 5-2.